I was just reading this novel about a woman called Lin Yue'e. Her name was almost the same as mine, only one character different. And oh, that woman made me so angry. She had a good husband, a sent-down youth from the capital, and she ruined everything. She gave away all his family's money, food, and clothes to her own parents and brother. Of course, her husband got fed up and left her when he got into university. The stupid thing was, if she'd just been a normal wife and followed him back to the city, she would have lived like a rich lady for the rest of her life. But no, her whole family had no brains. Then I fell asleep, and when I woke up, I was inside the book. I became Lin Yue'e. And the timing couldn't be worse, because my husband Jingyan was standing right in front of me, telling me he wanted a divorce. "We never even got a marriage certificate, just had a banquet," he said. "Here's 200 yuan my family sent. I'm leaving it for you. Take care of yourself." I looked at this man. Tall, sharp jawline, sword-like eyebrows, bright eyes. He was more handsome than any celebrity I'd ever seen. My brain just short-circuited. Why would anyone let this man go? And he's not just handsome. He's one of the first people to get into university after the special period ended. That's like gold-level quality right there. I grabbed his arm. "I'm not divorcing you. Take me with you." But he just pulled away. He told me we were done. He said these past 2 years had worn him out completely. Every time his parents sent money, grain, canned food, clothes, the original Lin Yue'e would haul it all to her parents' house and give it to her brother. Last month, his family sent 200 yuan for his exam preparation, and she told her parents about it. Then her family demanded the money because her brother needed bride price for his wedding. She even packed up the malted milk powder and canned goods and took those too. They fought about it. He moved back to the sent-down youth dormitory. And even then, she kept coming to ask him for money, 150 yuan for her brother's wedding. Her family wanted him to pay the entire bride price and wouldn't spend a single cent themselves. I tried to hold on to him, but he shook me off. "The house is yours," he said. "Give it to your brother if you want. Find someone else. We're done." And just like that, he walked out. I saw people peeking through the doorway, then scattering when he came out. I wanted to chase after him, but then I thought about how badly the original owner had behaved. If I ran after him now, it would probably just make him hate me more. I sat down in the yard, still holding those 200 yuan. Say what you want about Jingyan, he's a decent man. Even after everything this woman put him through, he still left her money as a parting gift. I needed to hide this cash immediately. If the Lin family found out, they'd come snatch it away. I went inside and looked around. The place was completely empty. One table, 2 small wooden stools in the main room, that was it. The bedroom had a big brick bed platform, but not even a mat on it, let alone blankets or quilts. The wardrobe doors hung open, nothing inside. The original owner had packed up all the clothes, hers and even Jingyan's, and sent them to her parents' house. She gave his clothes to her brother. This woman was seriously insane. An empty house, an abandoned wife. And, according to the novel, shortly after Jingyan left, the original discovered she was pregnant.
So right now,
I touched my belly. There might already be a baby in there. In the book, the Lin family told her to keep the child, so they could use it later to squeeze money from Jingyan once he became successful. Years later, when they saw in the newspaper that he'd become a big boss, they forced her to take the kid to find him. But by then he had another woman. He didn't even acknowledge the child. He just gave her 1,000 yuan and told her to go home. By that point, she was only 27 or 28, but she looked like she could be his mother. She'd been living at her parents' house like a servant, taking care of the whole family while raising her child alone. And then, right before getting on the train home, her child went missing. She was robbed, then stabbed to death by some thugs. Only as she was dying did she learn that Jingyan's fiancé had hired those people to kill her. I slammed my hand on the table. What a terrible ending for such a good hand of cards. But the moment my hand hit the table, the jade bracelet on my wrist, the one Jingyan had given the original, shattered into pieces all over the floor. A shard cut my wrist, and it started bleeding. Great, just my luck. That was real jade too. In a few years it probably would have been worth thousands. But then something strange happened. The broken pieces started glowing, flew back to my wrist, and sank right into my skin. Everything blurred, and I vanished from the spot. The scene around me suddenly changed. I was standing in the middle of a green meadow. A few meters away there was a small stone house, stone paths on the ground, and a bamboo grove not far off. In the middle of the grass was a small pool. I immediately remembered. In the novel, this was the golden finger that the female lead Huang Xiaoran was supposed to get. But wait, in the original story, I was just cannon fodder. After I got killed, my son Guan would carry the bracelet and meet Huang Xiaoyan, and she'd get this space. But now the bracelet broke on my wrist, so the space came to me instead. Ah, this is mine now. Huang Xiaoyan won't show up for years anyway. This space was always meant to be on my wrist. I clapped my hands together, my mood flipping completely from miserable to excited. I ran over to the pool and leaned down to look. It had to be a spirit spring. I could see my reflection in the water. And wow, the original owner was really beautiful. Long black hair in a braid, a fair oval face with rosy cheeks, big dark eyes like black gems, long eyelashes like little fans, and cute cherry lips. No wonder Jingyan married her despite coming from a good family in the capital. He was clearly a looks guy, just like me. I scooped up the spring water with my hands and drank until I was full. Who knows what it might do, make me smarter, prettier, or give me some kind of superpower. Any of those would be a win. Then I ran into the stone house. From the outside it looked tiny, maybe 15 square meters at most. But inside, it was like stepping into another world. A big living room, 3 rooms, and a kitchen. I went back outside, walked around the whole building, checked the size again. Still small on the outside. But inside it had to be at least 100 square meters. Well, this is a magical space. Normal rules don't apply. I rushed back in. The furniture was all there, beautiful carved pieces, like something from a rich family's house in the old Republic era you'd see on TV. There were even carved staircase railings leading to a second floor, with 4 more rooms. From the hallway upstairs, I could look down and see the whole living room below. Oh my God! Back in my old life, I couldn't even afford to buy a place and had to rent a basement. Now I've transmigrated to this era, and I've got a mansion. A minute ago, I was thinking about telling Jingyan about the baby and begging him to take me along. But now, I have this space. I have this huge house. Why would I cling to him? Sure, he got into university, and sure, he'll become a rich businessman later. But can any of that compare to my own pocket dimension? I don't need to worry about my future anymore. And having this baby is actually perfect. The father is handsome and smart enough to get into university. So good genes. Being an unmarried mother in this era would normally be rough, with all the gossip and hardship. But I'm different now. And having the child gives me a perfect excuse to never remarry. Besides, I remembered what happened in the book. When the original owner took the child to find Jingyan years later, he didn't even believe the kid was his. And his woman, Su Monli, that rich girl who was a perfect match for his status, she paid people to kill the original owner. If I followed him, who's to say Su Monli wouldn't come after me too? Better to stay alive. Yue'e, where are you? A woman's voice suddenly startled me. But I realized the sound was coming from outside the space. Pretty useful. I could hear the outside world from in here. Lin Yue'e, where the hell did you go? I recognized that voice right away. It was the original owner's mother, Zhang Guifan. I quickly left the space and appeared back where I'd been before. Good timing. She had just entered the yard and hadn't come inside yet. I'm here. I couldn't bring myself to call her Mom. This woman was the reason the original owner ended up dead. She brainwashed her daughter every single day, telling her that her parents' family was the most important thing, that only if her brother Lin Jianbao did well would she have someone to rely on after her parents died. Then I heard footsteps, and in walked a woman in old dusty gray clothes. She was ugly, squinted triangle eyes, dark leathery skin, and breath that hit me like a wall when she opened her mouth. A white cloth wrapped around her head. A typical rural, northwestern woman. I honestly couldn't believe this woman gave birth to someone as pretty as me. We looked nothing alike. Maybe the original owner's father was very handsome and she took after him. Where's your Jingyan? He just left. He doesn't want me anymore. He wants a divorce. We're done. I stepped back a couple of paces. It was summer, and she reeked of sweat. What? He wants to divorce you? How dare he? Where is he? You just let him leave. Zhang Guifin started screaming and grabbed my wrist. Her face looked like she wanted to eat someone alive. He says divorce, and you just agree? Are you stupid? You married him. You slept with him. And now he just walks away? Where is he? I need to go talk sense into him. He can't leave without giving our family a big pile of money. You slept with him for 2 years. He owes us. I remembered reading this part in the book and thinking, what kind of mother talks like this? She was basically treating her own daughter like merchandise. We were married. And she's talking about payment for sleeping with him? What are you even saying? We had a proper wedding banquet. Don't make it sound like I'm some kind of something. I sat by the table and rolled my eyes at her. The next second, her bony finger jabbed right into my forehead. You brainless girl. Your husband and wife. You don't just let... Ow. Why are you pinching me? I rubbed my arm where she'd twisted it. Seriously, what kind of mother does this to her own daughter? I was starting to doubt I was even her real child. Didn't I tell you to get another 150 from him? Your brother needs to get married. You said his family sent him 200 yuan. Where's the money? You didn't get it. Zhang Guifin was slapping her own hands together, looking at me like I was the most useless person alive. I tried. Of course I tried. But he wouldn't give it to me. He even said our family should return all the stuff we took before. I got scared, and then he just left. The sent-down youth dormitory was on the other side of the village, far from here. Jingyan would be gone by tomorrow morning. As long as they didn't run into each other, everything would be fine. You're so useless. I raised you all these years, and you can't even get bride price money for your brother? You're going to be the death of me. She glared at me like I was her biggest disappointment. Oh, really? Go say that to other people and see if anyone believes you. In 2 years of marriage, how much stuff did I bring home to you? I even took Gu Jingyan's underwear back for your precious son. Money goes without saying. Look at this house. There's nothing left. Let me ask you something. Am I even your real daughter? You broke up my perfectly good marriage. Are you happy now? Zhang Guifin couldn't believe it. Her daughter, who used to obey every word she said, was actually talking back. You, how dare you? I'm your mother. Did Gu Jingyan put you up to this? Did he tell you to go against your family? I knew he was no good. I actually laughed at that. He's no good? He used his own family's grain, money, ration tickets, and even his own clothes to feed your whole family. And after all that, you call him no good? Outside the door, a neighbor woman named Sister Lu was listening in. She thought it was strange. Had Lin Yue'e finally come to her senses? She was actually standing up to her mother and realizing how wrong she'd been. But it was too late. The educated youth was leaving for university and would never come back. Such a nice girl, completely ruined by her own family. Zhang Guifin raised her hand to slap me, but I caught her wrist in midair. You want to hit me because you can't win the argument? Don't think just because you gave birth to me, you can step on me for the rest of my life. Let me tell you, I've figured it out now. You never wanted me to have a good life. You just wanted to keep me down so I'd support your whole family forever. Lin Jianbao wants to get married? That's your problem. Don't come asking me for money. I didn't give birth to him. His wedding has nothing to do with me. I shoved her away. She stumbled back and landed right on her butt. Then she started her performance, slapping her thighs and wailing at the top of her lungs. Heavens above. My daughter is beating her own mother. Lin Yue'e is trying to kill me. I can't live anymore. How did I raise such an ungrateful child? Everyone, come look. I'd never seen anything like this in my previous life. In the modern world, who would throw themselves on the ground and put on a show like this? Maybe some people, but I'd never encountered it. Sure enough, a crowd of village busybodies came rushing into the yard. What's going on? What are you two fighting about? Old Lady Zhang asked, pretending to be curious, but clearly enjoying the drama. Well, this is something new. Zhang Guifin, what are you howling about? Yue'e is famous for being filial. She'd rather let her own household fall apart than stop sending grain and money to your house. Now you've finally broken up her marriage. Shouldn't you be happy? Old Chen, smoking his pipe, was clearly enjoying the show too. I listened to the crowd, and surprisingly, every single one of them was on Gu Jingyan's side. I heard the educated youth is going off to university. How come he didn't take you along, Yue'e? Once he's gone, is he ever coming back? That was Lin Yue'e, a woman who'd also had eyes for Gu Jingyan back in the day. She was already holding her own baby, and she'd come purely to watch my humiliation. What a shame about that educated youth. How did he end up stuck with your whole family of leeches? You people, how can you say these things? We're all from the same village. Why are you siding with an outsider? Zhang Guifan had started her scene hoping the villagers would take her side and help her pressure me. But instead, every single person walked in and started defending Gu Jingyan. She was jumping up and down with rage. I saw my chance to reset my image with these people. I covered my mouth and put on my most regretful face. You're all right. Uncles, aunties, I finally see how terribly wrong I was. I'm so sorry to Gu Jingyan. I didn't know any better before. Whatever my mother told me to do, I did it. She told me to take all the food and good things home to her family, and if I didn't, she'd call me ungrateful and say I owed them. I failed Gu Jingyan. If I could do it over, I'd live a good life with him. But it's too late. He wants a divorce. He's never coming back. I'm as good as a widow now. Somewhere across the village, Gu Jingyan was reading a book and suddenly felt a chill on the back of his neck, like someone was cursing him. I was using this moment to completely rebuild my reputation. Gu Jingyan was leaving and never coming back, so I could say whatever I wanted. From now on, this was my home, just me. Well, me and the little one in my belly. The two of us would depend on each other in this village. And the first thing I needed to do was cut ties with my so-called family. A clean break would be best. Otherwise, they'd never stop coming after me. So that's how it was. Zhang Guifan. Is that any way for a mother to act? Yue'e is already married. You sucked her dry every single day. Now you've gone and ruined her marriage. What a sin. Exactly. If I were him, I'd run too. Who dare stay married to your daughter when your family grabs everything that comes through the door? What kind of life is that? Andy Wang spat on the ground in disgust. Everyone turned on Zhang Guifan. Sure, every family had daughters who helped out their parents. That was normal. And plenty of parents' families helped their married daughters too. It was supposed to go both ways. But someone like Zhang Guifan, who only ever took and took and took, that was rare even here. So you've really thought it through, Yue'e. Remember, your life is your own from now on. If you remarry, you can't be like this again. Lin Yue'e said this in a caring tone, though I could tell she was certain Gu Jingyan and I were completely finished. Right, Yue'e. You need to think for yourself. Otherwise, who dare marry you? Zhang Taidan was grinning at me with a look I didn't like at all. I could practically see the gears turning in his head. The prettiest woman in the village is single now. Maybe he could send someone to propose. He was probably thinking if I ever tried pulling that give everything to my family nonsense again, he'd straighten me out. Not like that soft, educated youth who let his wife do whatever she wanted. As if I'd ever let that happen. I noticed that guy Zhang Taidan looking at me with a creepy gleam in his eye, so I took a step back. Something about his gaze felt gross. Zhang Guifan was still going. What nonsense are you all talking? She's my daughter. Helping her family is what she's supposed to do. We raised her. Everything she did for us is only right. She was regretting making such a big scene now. She'd wanted these people to come in and take her side, so she could use them to pressure me. Instead, every single one of them defended Gu Jingyan. She started shooing them out. Get out, all of you. We have family business to deal with. I could tell what she was thinking. She figured she just needed to sweet-talk me a little, and I'd go right back to being her obedient daughter. Gu Jingyan was gone, but there was still this house, the one he'd spent over 100 yuan to build when he married the original owner. Brick and earth construction. Only 2 years old. A perfectly good new house that she wanted to hand over to her precious son Jinbao as a wedding gift. The villagers left, and Zhang Guifan turned to close the gate. But I'd already darted inside and shut the door from within, locking it tight. She started pounding on the door. "You little brat. Open this door right now. You dare lock your own mother out? You're asking for a beating." From outside, I could hear everyone burst out laughing. "Looks like Yue'e has finally wised up, Zhang Guifan. Maybe try being a decent person from now on. Don't push the girl too hard. Look at that house. There's nothing left in it. How's she supposed to live? Pa, mind your own business. She's my daughter. She's divorced now, so she'll just remarry. What's the big deal? One husband's as good as another." Zhang Guifan cursed and yelled outside for a long time. I didn't respond once. I went back inside and looked around at the empty house. At least I still had that 200 yuan. I needed to build a life from here. This was a special year. Because of the new policies, many sent-down youths were either going back to the cities, divorcing their village spouses and leaving, or heading off to university and abandoning their partners, sometimes even their children. They'd even made TV shows and movies about this kind of thing later. I never imagined I'd end up being the abandoned one. But really, Jingyan had been more than fair. Before leaving, he went to the village chief and registered the house under my name. And he gave me 200 yuan on top of that. News traveled fast in the village. Even though Jingyan was staying at the sent-down youth dormitory, someone ran over to tell him what happened. "Jingyan, your wife got into a big fight with your mother-in-law today. Everyone's saying she's finally come to her senses. She figured out she should be living for herself, and she kicked her own mother out of the house." That was Chun Weiguo, Jingyan's good friend, an older educated youth close to 30 who'd failed the university exam. He'd never found a wife in the village because he was dead set on getting back to the city. "I already told her, we're divorced. She's my ex-wife now," Jingyan said. He was a little surprised by the news, but he had no intention of forgiving the original owner. He didn't believe a person could change that easily. He probably thought she was just playing some new trick. "You really don't care? Back when you were chasing her, she was all you could see. You even said you'd take her back to the city and grow old together. I was blind." "Drop it." Jingyan threw his book at Chun Weiguo. Chun Weiguo caught it with a laugh and wiggled his eyebrows. "Oh, by the way, that Su family girl has been writing to me again, asking about you. Your luck with women is something else. You're married, and she still can't let go. I thought those letters were for me, but nope, she's using me as her spy. Don't tell her anything about me. Even now that I'm divorced, I don't like her. It's never happening. Don't play matchmaker." Before he'd been sent to the countryside, Su Monli had been all over him. But he just didn't like her. She was too clingy and she wasn't his type. Worst of all, she'd once tried to drug him so he'd have to marry her. Her family only had one daughter, and they wanted him to marry into their family. Luckily, he'd noticed in time and didn't drink what she gave him. That incident was actually what pushed him to volunteer for the countryside. Chun Weiguo's expression went stiff. He'd already written back to Su Monli and told her which university Jingyan got into. Jingyan noticed his guilty look and narrowed his eyes. "What are you feeling guilty about?" "Nothing. We're catching the train tomorrow. Let me go boil those eggs so we can eat them on the way." Chun Weiguo fled. Lying on his wooden bed, Jingyan thought about what Chun Weiguo had said, that Lin Yue'e had come to her senses. Could she really change? Maybe he should take her along after all. But then he thought it through. Here in the village, even if she gave everything away to her family, she could still scrape by, find food in the fields, borrow grain from neighbors, catch something in the mountains. But if he brought her to the city and she started that nonsense again, and then they had children, he couldn't even imagine how bad it would get. No. Better to make a clean break while they didn't have kids. Let it end here. Meanwhile, I went back into my space. The house Jingyan left me was completely stripped bare. When he'd still been living here, there had at least been clothes, bedding, and firewood in the kitchen. Even when food ran low, he'd go out and buy some, or borrow, or gather wild vegetables from the mountain. But after he gave up and moved to the dormitory, the original owner brought her mother and brother over and hauled away everything useful, even the firewood he'd chopped. My stomach growled loudly. I was starving. Having a space was great, but drinking spring water didn't fill your belly. I'd drunk plenty of spirit spring water earlier, but nothing had happened. No stomach pains, no cleansing, no skin improvement, no superpowers. Nothing like what happens in other novels. I leaned over the pool again. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe this isn't even spirit spring water. I checked myself over. Same face. Nothing changed. No beauty upgrade, no strength boost. A little disappointing, honestly. But the space itself was real. That was something. At least I could sleep in the stone house tonight, and there was even a place to bathe. The only problem was food. There was none in here, and none out there either. I was getting hungrier by the minute. I needed to go find something to eat. If I couldn't find anything, I'd have to borrow from someone. Going to my parents' house was out of the question after today's fight. They wouldn't give me a single grain. I left the space and went to check the kitchen. And wouldn't you know it, the one iron cooking pot we had was gone too. The Lin family had taken even that. I swore under my breath. Sooner or later, I was getting back every single thing they stole from this house. I peeked through the crack in the door to make sure Jingyan was gone. Once the coast was clear, I opened the gate and stepped out. The second I did, someone jumped right in front of me. It was that Jingyan guy from earlier, big and tall, thick eyebrows, large eyes, but with a scraggly beard that made him look like a bandit.
Yeah.
You're out.
Your mom left.
I was keeping watch for you. Nobody's around. I nearly jumped out of my skin. Jingyan, what are you doing? You scared me half to death. You're scared? Then marry me. I'll protect you. You won't have to be afraid of anything ever again. The moment he heard Jingyan was leaving and had divorced me, this guy's brain went straight to marriage. Apparently, I was the prettiest woman in the village, and even being divorced didn't bother him. Go away. What's wrong with you? I have things to do. Stop bothering me. So much for people in the old days being conservative. Jingyan hadn't even left the village yet, and this guy was already proposing. I turned around and locked the gate behind me. Why bother locking up? A mouse that wandered and would starve to death in there, he said, not bothered at all by my attitude. He just kept following me. You're hungry, aren't you? Your house has nothing in it. You're looking for food, right? No, I'm not. Go away. I don't want to talk to you. I glared at him. Whether I'm hungry or not is none of your business. Can't you take a hint? Right on cue, my stomach let out a loud growl.
Ah.
I knew it. Yue'e, just be with me. I live alone. Nobody to bother us. I'll treat you well, I promise. Jingyan had liked the original owner for a long time. She was beautiful, who wouldn't? But his family situation was bad. No parents, younger siblings to take care of, and he was already 30, a confirmed bachelor. No young girl's family would agree to match with him. So the moment I became available, he pounced. I ignored him and headed toward Granny Wang's house across the way. It was about noon, and I was thinking of going to the township supply store to buy some grain and an iron pot. Without a pot, I couldn't even cook. Yue'e, believe me, I'm a few years older than you, but I've never been married. I'm a first marriage. I'll pay 200 yuan in bride price. We'll have a good life together, I promise. He was getting upset that I wouldn't even look at him. In his mind, I was a divorced woman now. He was being generous by not looking down on me, and I dared to ignore him. I walked into Granny Wang's yard. Granny Wang, are you home? Jingyan stood outside staring after me, angry. He spat on the ground. Jingyan doesn't even want you anymore. What are you acting all high and mighty for? Meanwhile, my little brother Lin Yue'e had been lurking nearby the whole time, sent by our mother to keep an eye on me. When he saw me come out and Jingyan trying to propose, he ran right over and pulled him aside. Taidan, you want to marry my sister? Lin Yue'e already had a fiancé, Li Chunlan from the neighboring village. The bride price was set at 150 yuan, and our mother had decided that I was the one paying for it. Jingyan had sent her son to watch me. She knew Jingyan was leaving, and her mind had already gone straight to my house. Their own home was decades old and falling apart. They'd been planning to renovate it for Jinbao's wedding, but now that I was divorced from Jingyan, she figured my house, the nice brick one that was only 2 years old, should go to her son. Zhang Tian's eyes lit up when he saw Lin Yue'e. If I married him, Jinbao would be his brother-in-law. Since the original owner was famous for spoiling this brother, that could only mean good things for him. He threw his arm around Jinbao, like they were best buddies. Jinbao, what do you think about me and your sister? He pulled out a pack of cigarettes and shoved them into Jinbao's arms. Cigarettes cost 6 mao a pack and you needed ration tickets to buy them. Not cheap. My sister's divorced, so it should be doable. But you have to go through my parents properly. And let me tell you, my sister may be divorced, but show me any girl within 10 villages who's prettier than her. She doesn't have kids either. If you want her, you'd better pay bride price like she's a first marriage. Jinbao stuck a cigarette in his mouth and Zhang Taidan instantly struck a match for him, practically wagging his tail. Of course. I just don't know if your sister is willing. Come here. Jinbao pulled him close and whispered with a grin. You know the saying, chasing a woman is like climbing a mountain, but a woman chasing a man is easy as anything. And they say even the toughest woman gives in to a persistent man. Just keep at it, and eventually my sister will come around. Zhang Tiedan's head whipped around to look for me. But I was already on a bicycle, pedaling toward the village entrance. I was following the original owner's memories, heading to town to buy supplies. But as I passed the sent-down youth dormitory at the edge of the village, wouldn't you know it, there was Gu Jingyan, squatting by the front door doing who knows what. Honestly, I was used to riding electric scooters in my previous life, and as a kid I'd only ridden lightweight women's bikes. This big, clunky men's bicycle felt completely awkward. And then my eyes locked onto my ex-husband. I knew I should focus on getting rich on my own, but that face of his was practically criminal. I got distracted, my foot slipped off the pedal, I hit a rut in the road, and, I went flying. Me and the bike, crashing right at Gu Jingyan's feet in the most graceful wipeout of all time. He jumped up immediately and pulled the bicycle off me. Are you okay? That low voice with a hint of irritation. It made my heart tremble. Then his hands gripped my arms and pulled me to my feet.
I'm fine.
Just scraped my skin a little. It was summer and my clothes were thin, so the road rash stung. He was holding my arm, and suddenly it felt incredibly awkward. We'd literally just divorced earlier today. And now here we were. Where are you going? He asked. The moment he saw me, his expression softened. After 2 years of marriage, he really had loved the original owner. Otherwise, a man from his background would never have married a village girl. He wanted to ask me something. I could feel it. Maybe he was thinking about asking me to come with him. But he held back. There's no food at home, so I'm heading to the township store to buy some.
When?
When does your train leave? I don't know why I asked that. I just kept thinking, this gorgeous man was supposed to be mine, and the original owner ruined everything. Even if I sincerely apologized now and swore I'd never send another thing to my parents' house, he'd probably think it was just more empty promises. Tomorrow morning. Take care of yourself from now on. He couldn't bring himself to ask. In his mind, she'd never really change. I nodded and turned away, pushing the bicycle forward. Normally a fall like that would be nothing, but I was worried about the baby. A sudden sharp pain in my belly made me tense up. I figured I'd stop by the hospital in town to confirm whether I was actually pregnant. Knowing from the novel was one thing, getting a real diagnosis was another. Gu Jingyan had turned back toward the dormitory when he heard another crash behind him. He spun around and saw my bike on the ground, and me collapsed beside it.
Lin Yue'e.
What happened? He sprinted over and scooped me up. My face had gone white, and I'd passed out. Chun Wigwa came running out after hearing the shout. He saw Gu Jingyan holding me, his ex-wife as of today. What's wrong? Don't ask. I'm taking her to the village doctor. Every village had a barefoot doctor. Ours was a man called Chun Guizi, a guy in his 60s with a limp from an old injury. He was sorting herbs in his yard when Gu Jingyan came running and carrying me. What happened? She fell and then suddenly fainted. I don't know what's wrong. Please check her. Even though he'd just said we were done, seeing me like this still made his heart ache. Chun Guizi sat by the bed and took my pulse. Gu Jingyan watched the old man's face anxiously. His brow would furrow, then relax. Furrow, then relax. Before he could ask anything, footsteps came from outside.
Yue'e.
Is Yue'e okay? It was Zhang Taidan, with Lin Jinbao right behind him. Gu Jingyan, you already divorced my sister. Get away from her. Stop touching her. She's going to marry Brother Taidan now. Lin Jianbao could flip on people faster than you could flip a page. After everything he'd taken from Gu Jingyan over the years, he was already treating Zhang Taidan like his new brother-in-law. Gu Jingyan frowned at Zhang Taidan, the village's most famous old bachelor. Zhang Taidan, feeling bold with his future brother-in-law backing him up, shoved past Gu Jingyan and planted himself by my bedside, looking worried. "What's wrong with Yue'e?" They'd seen Gu Jingyan carrying me from a distance and came running. Gu Jingyan looked at Jinbao, figured they were family, and it wasn't his business anymore. He'd done his part. He left without a word. The moment he walked out, I woke up. An old man was smiling down at me, and for a second I wondered if I'd transmigrated again. "Sis, you're awake." I turned my head and saw two men staring at me eagerly. Zhang Taidan I recognized from earlier. The other one. I searched through the original owner's memories and matched the face. Lin Jianbao, the root of all evil himself. "Sis, Brother Taidan brought you here. He's so good to you." Jinbao immediately gave Zhang Taidan all the credit, acting like he was the one who'd saved me. Zhang Taidan puffed up his chest and played along. It was nothing. Of course I'd help. Chen Guizi clearly thought both of them were shameless, but he didn't comment on it. "Yue'e, you're pregnant. Almost 2 months along. You fainted because you haven't been eating. Make sure you eat on time from now on." Right at that moment, Chen Weigua arrived outside with my bicycle. He heard everything through the doorway. I could practically hear his thoughts spinning. "Lin Yue'e is pregnant? Gu Jingyan is leaving for university tomorrow and says he's never coming back. Should I tell him?" Then he thought about Su Monli, the woman who'd been writing him letters, asking him to keep tabs on Gu Jingyan, sometimes slipping money into the envelopes. She'd helped him out plenty of times. He decided to keep his mouth shut. What Gu Jingyan didn't know wouldn't hurt him. "Lin Yue'e, I left your bicycle outside," he called in. I sat up. "Thank you. You okay? Why'd you faint?" He acted like he hadn't heard a thing.
I'm fine.
"Just got dizzy." I shot a glare at Jinbao and Zhang Taidan before either of them could open their mouths. They shut up. Zhang Taidan looked like someone had punched him in the gut. He'd just decided to marry me, and now I was carrying Gu Jingyan's baby. How was that not depressing? "Well, I should get going," Chen Weigua said politely, then walked away faster and faster. He was thinking he needed to grab Gu Jingyan and get on that train as soon as possible. If Gu Jingyan found out about the pregnancy, would he still go through with a divorce? And if those two got back together, with the original owner's habits, Gu Jingyan would never have a peaceful day again. "It's over." "How did she end up pregnant?" Zhang Taidan mumbled to himself. Jinbao was annoyed too. They'd already discussed the bride price. He was counting on marrying me off to Zhang Taidan. And now this. He slapped Zhang Taidan's shoulder. "What are you moping about? She's just pregnant. Make her get rid of it." I'd already known from the novel that I'd have a child, so hearing the confirmation actually made me happy. Once Gu Jingyan left, this baby would be mine alone, and the perfect excuse to never remarry. But when I heard what Jinbao said, my hand moved on its own. I smacked him right on the head so hard he saw stars and spun in a circle. If Zhang Taidan hadn't caught him, he would have hit the floor. The doctor had just said I fainted from hunger. How did a starving woman hit that hard? "Cease. Why'd you hit me?" "I'm looking out for you. Gu Jingyan already threw you away. You really want to give birth to that bastard." Jinbao was furious after I hit him. "Cease. Why are you hitting me?" "I'm trying to help you. He doesn't want you anymore. If you have this baby, how will you ever remarry?" I jumped off the bed, grabbed a cloth shoe from the floor, and started smacking him with the sole. This was the guy who caused all of the original owner's suffering. He was the root of everything bad. "You dare call my child a bastard? You must be tired of living." "Sis, stop."
Ow.
"I'm saying this for your own good. Just let Chen Guizi give you medicine to get rid of it. You can't keep this baby." I chased him right out the door, slapping him across the face with the shoe until he was covered in dirt. Then my stomach growled again. "So hungry." Chen Guizi shook his head, went into his kitchen, and came back with a flatbread. "Eat something first." "Thank you, Uncle Chen." I didn't care about manners at this point. I grabbed the bread and started eating right away. Jinbao was still hovering at the door. Are you even listening to me? Just let Qingguizi give you abortion medicine. You can't keep this kid. Then you marry brother Taidan and life will be good. I ignored him completely and focused on eating.
Fine.
I'm going home to tell Mom. She definitely won't let you have this baby. Zhang Taidan had been standing there looking lost. He wanted to marry me, but now there was a baby in the picture. He'd never raise another man's child. He left too, though he looked reluctant about it. After they were all gone, Qingguizi asked gently, Wei, are you keeping this child or… Uncle Chen, this is my baby. Of course I'm keeping it. I rubbed my belly. In my previous life, I'd never even been married, let alone had a kid. This was a brand new feeling, a ready-made baby, no man attached. As a modern person, was I really going to be unable to raise one child? Gu Jingyan brought you here.
Does he not know?
Maybe you should tell him about the pregnancy. If you don't have to separate, don't. He could take care of you, whether you go back to the city or follow him to school. No, Uncle Chin, please don't tell him. I treated him badly before. He's going to university now, and I don't want to hold him back. Later, after the baby's born, I'll find him then, when he's settled. I said this to put the old doctor at ease, but really, I just didn't want Gu Jingyan to know. Not now. Aren't you worried he'll find someone else out there? I'll be fine on my own. How much do I owe you, Uncle? Nothing. I didn't really do anything. But listen, in the first 3 months, don't ride that bicycle. Take the ox cart if you need to go somewhere. Got it. I'll bring you something tasty next time. Thank you, Uncle Chen. I felt much better with some food in me. I hopped on the bike and headed toward town to buy grain. Right outside, I ran into Jinbao coming back with Zhang Guifan. Lin Yue'e, get back here, she screamed behind me. I pretended I couldn't hear and pedaled faster.
Lin Yue'e.
If you keep running, don't ever come home again. She was stomping her feet with rage, but I was already flying down the road. Meanwhile, back at the dormitory, Chen Weiguo was dragging Gu Jingyan out the door, insisting they leave for the city today instead of tomorrow. He was nervous. If Gu Jingyan found out about my pregnancy, he might not leave at all. And if those two got back together, with the original owner's habits, his friend would never have a good life. Isn't it too early to leave today? Gu Jingyan asked.
No.
If we wait until tomorrow and the bus doesn't work out, we won't even make it to the city. Let's go today and stay at a guest house tonight. As they came outside with their bags, I zoomed past the dormitory on my bicycle. Your wife seems perfectly healthy. Riding like the wind, Chen Weiguo muttered, relieved. He hoped Gu Jingyan wouldn't blame him later. He was doing this for his own good. They caught an ox cart at the village entrance heading to town, the first leg of a long journey with several transfers before reaching the city. Zhang Guifan, meanwhile, had found out I was pregnant and nearly exploded. If she'd known sooner, she would have grabbed Gu Jingyan and forced him to stay. Who says he's gone? He was just at Qingguizi's place. He's the one who carried Sis there, Jinbao said.
What?
Your sister told me he already left. Zhang Guifan realized I'd tricked her. She slapped her thigh and sprinted to the sent-down youth dormitory. But when she got there, it was completely empty. Gu Jingyan and Chen Weiguo were already gone. Everyone else had either married into the village or left long ago. The dormitory would become the village committee office from now on. I was much faster on the bike than any ox cart. When I reached town, I went straight to the supply co-op to buy food, only to discover there was a long line. I stood at the back, looking around curiously. Knowing about this era from books was one thing. Seeing it with my own eyes was completely different. When it was finally my turn, I stepped up to the counter. Hello, comrade. I'd like to buy some rice. Do you have grain ration tickets? I froze. No, wait. You need ration tickets to buy grain. The saleswoman behind the counter rolled her eyes at me. Where are you from? You need grain ration tickets to buy anything here. No tickets, no grain. You need tickets for everything. Now move, there are people waiting. I got shoved aside by the next person in line. I stood off to the side and dug through my pockets, pulling out the money Gu Jingyan had given me. I checked if there were any ration tickets mixed in. There weren't. He'd only given me 200 yuan in cash. Nothing else. Of course, the original owner used to have plenty of tickets, but She'd handed every last one over to the Lin family. An old woman near the entrance had been eyeing me ever since I'd said I had no tickets. The moment I stepped outside, she grabbed my arm and dragged me to a hidden corner behind the wall, looking around nervously. "Hey girl, you need tickets?" "I've got tickets." I stared at her. Why was she acting so secretive? She'd pulled me all the way from the storefront to this back alley. "How much?" I told myself to stay sharp. I couldn't let this old lady swindle me. Meanwhile, across the street, Jingyan was sitting in the back of a tractor, about to leave for the county. He spotted me talking to the old woman in the corner. He jumped out of the tractor immediately, told the driver to wait, and came running over. 3 mao per ticket, the old woman said with a sly grin. "And don't say buy. That's speculation and it's illegal. We say exchange." I'd never done this before. The original owner always got everything from Jingyan, his monthly rations or packages from his family. She had zero experience with trading on her own. I was reaching into my pocket for money when suddenly I heard Jingyan's voice and felt him pull me away. "Hey, young man, what are you doing?" The old woman was furious. She'd been about to make easy money off me. "Sorry, this is my wife. She's not very bright. Even if you deal with her, she has no money to give you." He shot the old woman a cold look and pulled me behind him. The old woman had already figured I was a fool when she saw me try to buy grain without tickets. She'd been hoping to cheat me. But now that a sharp-looking man had shown up, she turned around and scurried off. I panicked when I saw her leave. "What did you do that for?" "I need to buy grain." "I don't have tickets. How am I supposed to eat if I don't trade with her?" 1 jin of grain costs 12 fun. Even on the black market, the highest price is 3 mao. She was charging you 3 mao per ticket, and you were going to pay? Are you stupid? Here, take these. Use them carefully. And whatever you do, don't give them to your parents' family. Though if you end up moving back in with them, forget it, that's your business. I'm leaving. He wanted to ask me to come with him. I could see it in his eyes. But he didn't. He probably figured I'd choose my parents over him, like always. He pressed a handful of tickets into my hand and looked at me with those deep eyes, like he had more to say. My heart skipped. Was he having second thoughts? Maybe I should tell him about the baby. I looked up, but he was already walking away toward the tractor. Forget it. Men can't be relied on. I have to be strong on my own. Lin Yue'e probably heard the doctor's diagnosis and told him about the pregnancy. These tickets are probably his way of making up for it. He still didn't ask me to come along, so why should I go chasing after him? He probably expects me to get rid of the baby anyway. Actually, Jingyan had only left because the tractor driver called out that they were about to depart. But I didn't know that. On the tractor, Lin Yue'e immediately started probing. "Where did you go? I thought you two already said goodbye. What did she say to you?" Lin Yue'e thought Su Monli was a much better match for Jingyan. They were both from the capital. And Su Monli was devoted, still pining for him even after he'd married someone else. Honestly, if Su Monli had liked him instead, Lin Yue'e would have married her in a heartbeat, even if it meant taking her family name. Jingyan didn't want to talk about it. The tractor was rumbling so loud that even when he opened his mouth to say something, Lin Yue'e couldn't hear him. I watched the tractor drive off, staring at his silhouette in the back. What a waste. Such a handsome husband. And now he's gone.
From now on, it's just me.
No, wait, me and the baby. The two of us will be just fine. And I'm definitely not taking you to find him years from now and getting us both killed. I looked at the tickets in my hand, grain tickets, industrial tickets, and even 2 meat tickets. But buying meat could wait. Right now, the priority was grain. I couldn't let a modern woman like me actually starve to death in this era. That would be too pathetic. I went back inside the co-op and lined up again. This time, with tickets in hand, I bought 5 jin of rice and 5 jin of mixed flour. The prices were shockingly cheap. Rice was 18 fun per jin, mixed flour was 12 fun. That old crook had tried to charge me 3 mao per ticket. I'd almost fallen for it. I also bought 10 jin of sweet potatoes and 10 jin of potatoes at 7 fun per jin. And matches. 10 boxes bundled together for 2 mao, no ticket needed. I wanted to buy cooking oil, but that required an oil ticket, so no luck there. Everything else needed tickets too, so I could only take what I had. I tied everything onto the bicycle. It was so heavy I could barely push it, let alone ride. Once I got outside the town and found a spot with nobody around, I put all the heavy bags into my space, keeping just one bag of mixed flour tied to the back seat for show. Then I rode home. When I got back, the lock on my front gate had been broken open. I returned the bicycle to Granny Wong across the street and gave her 2 boxes of matches as thanks. She was happy to take them, but then she grabbed my hand with a worried look. After you left, your mother and brother came and smashed your door lock. You'd better go check. Granny Wong looked at me with pity. I left my bag of mixed flour at her place and told her I'd come back for it after checking on my house. Be careful, Yue'e. Don't just do whatever your mother says anymore. Think about yourself. I know, Granny. Thank you. An old neighbor cared more about me than my own family. Those people were like vampires. The house was already stripped bare, and they still came to smash my lock. When I got back, I could hear voices inside. This house was practically built for my son. Look how nice it is. Now that the goof fellow is gone, we don't even need to build Jinbao a new place. He can just get married right here. That was Zhang Guifan. Yeah, it's way bigger than our house. Mom, do you think if Chunlan's family knows we already have a house ready, maybe they'll lower the bride price? Jinbao sounded like an idiot who'd just won the lottery. I searched the yard for something to use. The woodshed was completely empty, not even a stick. But there was a broom by the kitchen door. I grabbed it, took a deep breath, and told myself this was about defending my territory. This house was all I had. If the Lin family took it, where would my baby and I live? Right, I should talk to the matchmaker about it. That goof fellow spent over 100 yuan building this place. Getting a free house. Why would they need any bride price? But Mom, what if Sis won't agree? The village chief registered it in her name. They were still chatting when my shadow fell across the doorway. They looked up and saw me standing there, broom in hand, fury all over my face. You little brat, you dare come back? Didn't you hear me calling you earlier? Zhang Guifan completely ignored what Jinbao had been saying and just glared at me. She'd figured out that I went to the co-op, which meant Jingyan must have given me money. And instead of handing it over to her immediately, I'd gone and spent it. How dare I? She looked behind me, trying to see what I'd bought. This is my house. Why wouldn't I dare come back? The real question is, are you 2 bandits? Who smashed my lock? Jinbao glanced nervously at his mother. I did. So what? You should have listened when I called you. Now that the goof fellow is gone, you're coming back to live at our house. He gave you money, didn't he?
Hand it over right now.
You'll waste it all in days. Let me hold it for you. She reached for my hands. Get away from me. I swung the broom. Are you insane? The bamboo bristles scraped across her arm, leaving white scratch marks. Jinbao was farther back and dodged it.
Cease.
You're hitting Mom. Have you lost your mind? Yes, I've lost my mind. And you too drove me to it. Get out of my house. I just got divorced. Instead of wondering if I have food or water, you smashed my door and came to steal my house. You call yourself my mother? Zhang Guifan wasn't the type to feel ashamed, though. What are you talking about? We're just saying your brother can use this house for his wedding. What's wrong with that? You're divorced, you're alone. What do you need such a big house for? Come home with us. It's not safe living by yourself.
See?
I'm thinking about you. Who's been filling your head with nonsense? If I were the old Lin Yue'e, I would have nodded along and agreed. But I wasn't her.
Ah.
That's hilarious. Give my perfectly good house to that useless Lin Jinbao for his wedding? How thick-skinned can you be? Let me make this crystal clear. Not a chance. This is my home. Jingyan left it to me. Now get out. I charged at them with the broom raised high. They scrambled backward, terrified of getting hit, and retreated out of the yard. You've gone crazy. I'm your mother, and you dare hit me. Just you wait. I slammed the gate shut behind them. On their way home, about 200 meters from my place to theirs, Jinbao started whining. Mom, what if she won't give me the house? If there's no house, what if Chunlan won't marry me? He was fat, spoiled rotten his whole life as the family's only son. He'd inherited his mother's looks, small eyes, bulging nose, plain ugly. The only reason the Li family agreed to the match was the promise of 150 yuan in bride price. Without that money, no girl would look twice at him. We'll go home and get your father to deal with her. She's out of control. Zhang Guifan stepped right in a pile of chicken droppings and nearly went down. Jinbao caught her just in time. Whose damn chicken is this? Mine. What about it? Watch where you're stepping instead of blaming my chickens. Wang Ernia's wife was sitting outside her door, having watched the whole show. Zhang Auntie, Yue'e is married. Well, divorced now, but she has her own home. You're really going to take her house? That won't sound good when word gets around. What do I care how it sounds? She's my daughter. What I say goes. Divorced or not, she's still mine. Her house is our house. If you don't like hearing it, stuff your ears. Zhang Guifan had always been a bully. She dragged Jinbao home. But Wang Ernia's wife immediately told her mother-in-law everything. Poor Yue'e. The educated youth was such a good man. Handsome. Family had money. Even built her a house. If the Lin family hadn't caused so much trouble, she'd be living the best life in this whole village. Who's she got to blame? Herself. No brain of her own. Whatever her mother said, she did. I saw her help her family carry away her own cooking pot. She probably can't even make a meal right now. They were right. My kitchen didn't have an iron pot, bowls, plates, nothing. Even the pickle jar was gone. Completely empty. After the mother and son duo finally left, I went back to Granny Wang's to get my flour. My kitchen was useless, but I had my space. I went inside the space and wondered where all the supplies I'd bought ended up. As soon as I thought about it, I saw everything had appeared in the space's kitchen, neatly arranged. The space kitchen had everything: a gas stove that actually worked, an electric rice cooker with power, and running water from the tap. I had no idea where any of it came from, but who cares? The space was incredible. First things first, I made rice and stir-fried potato strips. Halfway through cooking, I realized I'd forgotten to buy seasonings. But when I opened the kitchen cabinet, there were already containers of salt, MSG, pepper powder, and chili powder sitting there, half used, like someone had lived here before. Good enough. Nothing had gone bad, so I'd use what was there. It made me wonder, this space must have had a previous owner.
Who were they?
While waiting for the rice, I explored the rooms. One bedroom on the first floor was decorated in a pink princess style, a beautiful vanity table with a heart-shaped mirror, half-used cosmetics neatly arranged, and when I pulled open the drawer, I found gorgeous gold and jade jewelry, pearl earrings, and necklaces. I picked up a gold bracelet. With stuff like this, why would I ever worry about money? Although, I probably can't sell this right now. Getting caught trading gold could mean big trouble. Better wait a few years until things open up. I grinned like a little hamster who'd just found a stash of nuts. The previous owner must have been wealthy. The other downstairs room was a study full of books, medical texts, and cultural works. My last life had given me more than enough school. No interest at all. Upstairs was where I nearly lost my mind. For rooms, all storehouses. The first room was packed with grain, rice, wheat, corn, beans, all stored in wooden barrels. Somehow none of it had any bugs, even though who knows how long it had been sitting there. If I'd known this was here, I wouldn't have bothered going to the co-op. The second room was full of vegetables, tomatoes, green beans, cucumbers, mushrooms, lined up in blue plastic crates on shelves, all perfectly fresh, without a single wilted leaf. The third room had every fruit you could imagine, also on shelves and crates, all looking like they'd just been picked. The last room was meat, eggs, and seafood, just as fresh as everything else. I slapped my own cheeks to make sure I wasn't dreaming. This was unbelievable. Thank you, whoever came before me. This is my inheritance. I just walked in and got all of this. I was just thinking my life was over, and now this is amazing. I grabbed a plate of eggs and 2 tomatoes. Scrambled eggs with tomatoes, that was all I wanted right now. I couldn't believe my luck. I'd been bracing myself for a hard stretch after Jingyan left. Instead, I had everything I could possibly need. After stuffing myself, I remembered I'd eaten a flatbread at Dr. Chen's place earlier. In these times, everyone was poor, so I should repay him. I picked up 2 eggs to bring him. But when I stepped out of the space, the eggs vanished from my hands. Huh? What happened? I went back in. The eggs were sitting right back in their tray. I tried again, same thing. I couldn't bring them out. I tested it with the sweet potatoes and potatoes I'd bought myself and brought into the space earlier. Those came out just fine. Then I tried the gold bracelet and jade pendant from the bedroom.
No luck.
They wouldn't leave the space. So that was the rule. Only things that belonged to me, things I'd brought in myself, could be taken out. Everything that was already here when I arrived could be used, eaten, or worn inside the space, but couldn't leave it. Well, I guess nothing's that perfect. But honestly, this is more than enough. I'll never go hungry or cold in here. I just can't share it with anyone outside. I didn't go out again that day. At night, I slept in the space. I had no choice, since the house outside didn't even have a sleeping mat, let alone blankets. Tomorrow, I absolutely had to go to the Lin family and take back everything that belonged to me. Before bed, I decided to try planting the wheat seeds I'd bought. The moment I brought them near the grass field, something triggered. Buttons appeared floating above the ground in the middle of the space. One click till. One click water. One click plant. One click harvest. Wait, is this a farming space? This gave me a huge boost of confidence. The wheat seeds were mine. I'd brought them in. So whatever grew from them should be mine too, and I'd be able to take the harvest out. I could start growing grain now, find more seeds later, and since nothing spoiled in the space, I could stockpile everything. In 2 or 3 years, when private business became legal, I'd be set. I hit one click till. The soil across the entire open field churned and flipped itself over in about 3 minutes. Then one click plant. The wheat flew out of my hands and scattered evenly across the dirt. One click water. The pool in the center sent water raining down like a gentle shower over the whole field. Right before my eyes, the seeds started sprouting. Little green shoots pushed up through the soil, growing to about finger length before stopping. This is like playing a video game. But it's getting late. Time for bed. I went back to the stone house, found a set of pajamas in the bedroom wardrobe, and changed into them. I couldn't afford to be picky about whether someone had worn these before. All my clothes were at the Lin family's house anyway. I took a nice hot bath before bed. In this era, village women either bathed in the river or poured a bucket of water over themselves. Having a real bathroom with hot water was pure luxury. When I woke up, I used my mind to check outside the space. I could hear roosters crowing. It was around late September, early October, and everyone in the village had to go work in the fields to earn work points. No work meant no grain rations at the end of the year. I couldn't skip out either. Even though I had food in my space, I had nothing outside. If I stopped working but stayed fat and healthy, people would get suspicious. Stepping out of the stone house, I was shocked. Overnight, the wheat had already grown to shin height. That fast? At this rate, maybe I can harvest it by tonight. I left the space and immediately felt a breeze on my skin. A strange breeze. On all of my skin. I looked down and almost screamed. I'd been wearing pajamas from the space, and I'd forgotten to change back into my own clothes before coming out. The space clothes didn't cross over, so I was standing in my house completely naked. Thank God nobody else was in the room. I dove right back into the space. Note to self, never wear space clothes again. Always change into my own before leaving. This is way too dangerous. My heart was still pounding from the embarrassment. I put on yesterday's outfit, which was stiff with dried sweat. I really should have washed it last night. There was even a washing machine in the bathroom, but I'd forgotten. The smell was awful, but I had no choice. When I came out of the space this time, I heard a bell ringing. That was the village work bell, calling everyone to the fields. It was harvest season, the corn needed to be picked. I opened my door and saw villagers streaming past on the road. Lin Yue'e, hurry up, you haven't shown up for work in days. You skipped yesterday too. If you keep this up, what are you going to eat this year? I heard your man left for university. How are you going to survive without him? Before I could react, some woman grabbed my arm and started dragging me along. Wait, let me lock my door. Then I remembered the lock was smashed. Lock what? There's nothing in your house to steal. Everyone nearby burst out laughing. The whole village knew my house was empty. Hey, Lin girl. Now that your man's gone and dumped you, you better find a new one quick. Otherwise, who's your parents going to leech off of? Some guy in the crowd mocked me with real nastiness in his voice. What's it to you, Lizzie? You interested? Go ask your parents to scrape together 200 yuan for bride price and marry her yourself. Though your house would probably be cleaned out within a month, the woman who'd been pulling me along turned around and joined in the teasing. Yeah, Lizzie, can your family afford to feed the whole Lin clan? Even the educated youth lost everything in less than 2 years. They were saying all of this right to my face. I knew they were talking about what the original owner did, not me, but it still stung. Mind your own business. Don't you all have better things to do? I'm not someone who wastes energy feeling sorry for myself. I grabbed a fistful of sandy dirt from beside the door and flung it at them. Hey, she's throwing things. She does all that and can't even take a joke? Let's go, forget her. Can't even handle a little teasing. The ringleader woman hurried everyone away. I studied her face, round and flat, about 20 years old, maybe 5 feet tall. She looked like Lin Jianbao, actually. Then it clicked. This was Lin Yue'e, my uncle's daughter, technically my cousin. She was way past normal marrying age because she was too ugly. Good families didn't want her, and she refused anyone beneath her standards. She'd been jealous of the original owner ever since a city-educated youth had asked to marry her. Now that Jingyan was gone, she was thrilled to rub it in. Everyone on the road was avoiding me now. I was basically an outcast. But honestly, that suited me fine. Less socializing meant fewer questions about how different I was from the old Lin Yue'e. When I reached the fields, Secretary Chen looked at me and sighed. Yue'e, what kind of work can you handle? If you keep doing easy jobs like before, earning 2 or 3 work points a day, you won't get enough grain to survive. There's nobody to cover for you anymore. Uncle Chen, I know, but...
I'm pregnant.
So what can I do? The moment I said it, Secretary Chen looked uncomfortable. People around here didn't just announce things like that out loud. The women behind me started whispering and snickering. They thought I was shameless. But I didn't care. If I didn't say it, how was I supposed to protect myself? I couldn't do heavy labor. I didn't even want to do the lighter jobs like picking corn. It was blazing hot. The stalk scratched your skin and nobody wore any protection except maybe a wet towel on their head.
What?
You're pregnant? Then why didn't you go with Jingyan? Secretary Chen looked stressed. He'd heard about the divorce, and that Jingyan was never coming back. And now I was carrying his child? What a mess. Uncle, I only found out after he left yesterday. So, is there anything lighter I can do? Can't do heavy work? You're just being precious. No work means no grain. Jingyan is gone, and you're still treating that lump of meat in your belly like a treasure. Zhang Guifen's voice cut in from behind me. She absolutely did not want me to have this baby. In her mind, the pregnancy was nothing but a burden that would make it harder to remarry me off. I turned around. She had 2 men with her, Jianbao, of course, and an older man I hadn't met yet as the new me. He wore a faded blue-gray cap, was short, and stood with his hands behind his back, scowling at me. He looked a lot like Jianbao. Obviously the father, Lin Yue'e, which made me wonder again, everyone in this family was ugly. How in the world did the original owner turn out this pretty? Maybe I really wasn't their biological child. This is my baby, and I'll treat it however I want. Even if it's a girl, she'll be my precious treasure. Unlike some people who only value sons, I wasn't going to give them a single kind word.
See?
I told you she's out of control now. She's grown wings. She doesn't even respect her own mother anymore. And you didn't believe me. Zhang Guifan said this to the man beside her, my so-called father. Granny Wang spoke up for me in front of everyone. Old Lin, your family has gone too far. Yue's house doesn't even have a mouse visiting anymore. You should give back what belongs to her. At least let the girl survive. I went and looked. That kitchen doesn't have a pot, a bowl, a plate, or even a single chopstick. Then she turned to me. But Yue'e, your man is gone. Are you really going to have this baby? Word had already spread about Zhang Taidan wanting to marry me. Jianbao had made sure of that. Now the whole village knew. People figured if I kept Jingyan's child, Zhang Taidan wouldn't want me anymore. In their minds, a woman alone shouldn't keep a baby. It would only make life harder, especially with parents like mine who'd never help. Your mother may be out of line, but she's not wrong. Raising a child alone, it'll be rough. Everyone started pressuring me to give up the baby. Even Secretary Chun chimed in. Yue'e, you're not the only one this happened to. Look at Li Shuang. Her husband left for the city and abandoned her with 2 kids, ages 4 and 2. But at least she has her parents looking out for her. You can't keep fighting with your family like this. He was basically saying it was my fault. That even though I'd get the short end, having nobody was worse than having bad family. Zhang Guifan jumped right on that.
See?
Everyone agrees with me. I'm your mother. Of course I'm thinking about you. Just listen to me. We'll go to the hospital, get rid of this baby, and then find you a new husband. Zhang Taidan is a good man. He's a few years older, but he'll take good care of you. She reached for my hand. Secretary Chun, I disagree. This baby may not have a father around, but it has me. As long as I work hard, I can raise this child. I just can't do too much heavy work right now because of the pregnancy, but I'll figure it out. In my head I was thinking, my space has more supplies than this entire village could use. Feeding 2 people is nothing. You ungrateful little. Lin Xiangqian, my so-called father, had expected me to cave. He figured I'd obey, get the abortion, marry Zhang Taidan, and they'd pocket another round of bride price. He was furious that I insisted on keeping the baby. Fine, fine, Secretary Chen said. There's a job cutting grass for the pigs and sheep, but it's only worth 2 work points a day. You won't get much grain from that, probably not enough to feed yourself, Zhang Guifan smirked. Exactly. And when you're starving, don't come crying to us. Nobody has extra grain to spare. Zhang Taidan was lurking in the crowd, ears perked up when people told me to abort. He was hoping maybe he could still marry me. But when I refused to give up the baby, his face fell. I won't ask you for anything else, I said, looking straight at my parents. But you need to return my things. My cooking pot, my bowls and plates, my clothes, my bedding. That's all I want. Nothing more. I wasn't going to fight about the money, tickets, and grain they'd taken before. I'd settle those accounts later. But right now I needed basic things to survive, at least for appearances.
Fine.
Go ahead and ruin your own life. I want to see how well you do without us. Lin Xiangqian's face turned dark with embarrassment. He grabbed his tools and stomped off into the cornfield. Raised a thankless wolf. Zhang Guifan followed without saying whether she'd return my things or not. Uncle Chen, I know what I'm doing, I told the secretary, who still looked like he wanted to argue. I'll go cut grass. What nobody here knew was that in just a couple of years, the system would change to household responsibility farming. My baby and I would be allocated over 2 mu of land. I could hand in the required public grain from what I grew in my space, and just go through the motions with the village plot. A few more years after that, individual businesses would become legal, and I could make money doing practically anything. Secretary Chen sighed. If you insist, then so be it. He probably figured Gu Jingyan had left me some money. Otherwise, where would I get the nerve to settle for just 2 work points a day? I took a sickle and a grass basket and headed toward the mountain where fewer people went. That way I could use my space to store more grass without anyone seeing. It also saved energy. The village's pigs, sheep, and cattle were all raised together, and I wasn't the only one on grass-cutting duty. Some old folks and children did it too, people who couldn't handle real labor. They'd collect enough to keep the animals fed and earn a few points. Nobody watched too closely anymore. Things had loosened up a lot. I found a nice rock on the hillside and sat down to enjoy the view. Below me stretched vast cornfields full of people working hard. Thank goodness I had my pregnancy as an excuse, or I'd be dying down there. After resting a good while, I started cutting grass and piling it in neat heaps. The actual cutting wasn't hard, the heavy part was carrying it down the mountain to the cattle shed. I worked for about 2 hours, stuffing most of the grass into my space until it was practically overflowing. That was definitely enough for today's quota. I carried 1 basket down the hill for show. And here's the strange thing, with a full basket on my back, I felt almost no weight at all. That spirit spring water must have been doing something after all, just slowly. If I kept drinking it regularly, my body would only get stronger. I had to log my work with Secretary Chen. 10 baskets per day was the target. I turned in 4 by noon. I couldn't hand in all 10 at once. If people saw me sitting around with nothing to do, they'd gossip. This job required the art of slacking, looking busy while stretching the work across the whole day. Honestly, everyone here did the same thing. As long as you finished your quota before the end of the workday, nobody cared. Quitting time was 4:30 in the afternoon. I'd finished early and went straight to the Lin family's doorstep to wait. Today I was getting my things back, no matter what. When the Lin family came home and spotted me sitting there, every single one of their faces turned as black as the bottom of a burned pot. I could tell what they were thinking. She really has the nerve to come asking. But anything that had entered their house was theirs now. They weren't giving back a thing.
We'd see about that.
Every villager walking past the Lin family's gate greeted me with barely hidden excitement. They all wanted to see a show. After saying hello, they'd park themselves nearby and wait. When the Lin family finally came home and saw me at their door, their faces looked awful. I walked up and stuck out my hand. Give me the key. Open the door. I've been waiting forever. I need my pot to cook dinner. Zhang Guifan glared at me and didn't hand over any key. She opened the door herself. Who told you to wait? I didn't invite you. The 3 of them had clearly talked it over. They decided that Jingyan must have given me money before he left and told me to stop giving things to my family. That was the only explanation for why their obedient daughter suddenly turned on them the moment he was gone. In their minds, it was all his fault. Did Jingyan say something to you? We're your real family. Don't listen to his nonsense. He's gone, and he's never coming back. Don't let him trick you, Lin Xiangqian said, putting on his caring father act.
Sis.
We're blood. Family sticks together no matter what. We'd never hurt you. Just come home, Jinbao added. What he really cared about was my house. He was the only son. Both houses would eventually be his. Marry me off, and he wouldn't even need to build a new place for his own future kids. Save the speeches. I'm only here for my kitchen stuff, my pot, bowls, plates, and my clothes and bedding. If you don't give them back, I'm not leaving. I'll come back at every mealtime to eat here, and if you won't feed me, I'll smash things. Let's see who breaks first. The door opened and I followed them in. Zhang Guifan's eyes nearly popped out of her head. You wouldn't dare. Try smashing one thing, just one. You think you can defy heaven? The villagers had crowded around the gate. Some climbed the nearby trees. Others lined the top of the courtyard wall. The village had no electricity, no entertainment. This was the best show in town. Come on, Yue'e. Smash something. Show your mama what you're made of. She's clearly not planning to give back your pot. Someone yelled from up in a tree. Get out of here, all of you. Go home and cook your own dinner. What are you staring at? Lin Xiangqian shouted at the crowd, fists clenching. If this girl dared cause trouble today, he wasn't going easy on her. Uncle Lin, just give Yue'e her stuff back. Don't push things too far. Hey Yue'e, forget the stuff. Just come home for meals every day. Eat and leave. That last suggestion came from a village auntie who didn't like Zhang Guifan. Her idea was exactly what I'd been thinking. Shut up, all of you. This is family business, Zhang Guifan screamed. I ignored the chatter and marched straight to the kitchen. The original owner had been talked into bringing her iron pot here. The Lin family had even rebuilt their stove to fit 2 pots now, front and back. Much more convenient for them. Zhang Guifan thought I was just throwing a tantrum. She figured I'd come into the kitchen and start helping her cook like old times, and eventually she'd talk me around. Instead, I walked out carrying a big iron pot in one hand and a basket loaded with bowls, plates, and jars in the other. Every piece was something the original owner had been tricked into bringing over. Put that down. Lin Xiangqian had been washing his face at the yard faucet. He spun around and saw me heading for the door with the goods. He charged at me to grab everything back. I'd been expecting this. When I saw him lunging at me with rage on his face, I kicked him squarely in the chest. He wasn't my real father. I wasn't going to be held hostage by fake family bonds. He landed on his backside on the ground. Jinbao rushed over to help him up. The entire crowd went silent. Nobody had expected me to actually hit Lin Xiangqian. He was her father after all. Sis, you kicked Dad. That's going too far. Jinbao pulled him to his feet. Lin Yue'e was truly furious now. He charged at me again, this time with his fists raised. He didn't care that I was pregnant. If he beat me into a miscarriage, even better. A disobedient daughter like me, he wouldn't feel bad, even if I died. But I'd already noticed that the spirit spring water had made me much stronger than before. I wasn't scared at all. I set the pot and basket down and dodged sideways. He was running too fast and swung at empty air, nearly falling again. Zhang Guifan caught him just in time. Yue'e, this is unfilial. Keep this up and we won't go easy on you. Zhang Guifan held her husband back. Everyone was watching. A full brawl would look terrible. But she couldn't hold him. Let go of me. That bitch. If I don't beat her to death today, I'm not surnamed Lin. She kicked me. Her own father. He'd never been humiliated like this in his entire life. His fists were white-knuckled, and he looked ready to kill me. This is hilarious. I came to take back my own things. What's wrong with that? I kicked him in self-defense. He came at me first. If I hadn't moved, he would have beaten me. If any of you try to hit me again, I won't hold back either. I picked up a metal spatula from the basket, about 8 inches long. If any of these three came at me, I'd fight. I wasn't going to take a beating lying down. Zhang Guifan saw that I wasn't backing down, wasn't apologizing, didn't show a hint of regret. She was livid. The three of them exchanged looks. She won't listen. Let's all go at once. I refuse to believe we can't handle her today. At Lin Yue'e's word, all three of them advanced toward me together. Yue'e, just apologize to your parents. You're pregnant. If they get rough, someone could get hurt. Some of the village aunties called out, worried about me. A few neighbors even rushed forward to break things up. But it was already too late for that. Lin Yue'e thought the three of them could handle me easily. But the second they closed in, I swung that iron spatula and caught each of them right across the face. 1, 2, 3. My face. You're insane. I'm your mother, and you're hitting me. Lin Yue'e lunged at me, trying to grab my wrists. I shoved him with both hands, and he went down on his backside again. Jinbao tried sneaking up from behind and bear-hugged my waist. Protecting my belly was the priority, so I forgot about the two old ones. I grabbed his wrist and bit down hard. He started howling. Wow. Yue'e is something else. Zhang Guifan, all three of you can't beat one girl? What happened? Skip lunch. Some guy up in a tree was cackling.
Mom.
She actually bit me.
I'm bleeding. Ispat. Disgusting.
I can't go too hard on those two old ones, but I can definitely handle you. I really didn't want to seriously hurt the original owner's parents, even though they were terrible. But Jinbao? He was fair game. I smiled at him. The second he saw that smile, his whole body tensed up. He knew I was coming for him. Stay away from me. You've gone crazy. You're mental. Somebody help. My sister's lost her mind. You're right, I have lost my mind. You people destroyed my family. My husband ran away because of you. Why wouldn't I go crazy? I decided to just play the crazy card. I grabbed Jinbao and went at him with the iron spatula, face, head, body, legs, everywhere. He screamed and screamed, but couldn't fight me off. He tried to break free, but my grip on his arm was like iron. He couldn't even pull away, even though his hands were bigger than mine. If I'd been beating up the parents, the villagers might have stepped in. But watching me smack around my grown brother, everyone was laughing their heads off. Jinbao, you're pathetic. Can't even beat a woman. Who knew Yue'e was this tough? Whoever marries her is going to be completely under her thumb. Zhang Taidan was watching from outside the wall. Suddenly, he felt that his plan to marry me might have been a bit hasty. All three Lin family members together couldn't handle me. Stop it. Lin Yue'e, stop hitting your brother. You'll hurt him badly. Zhang Guifan's weak spot was her precious son. Seeing his nose bleeding and hearing him cry out in pain was killing her. Then give me back my things. You tricked me into bringing everything here. Now return it. My clothes, my grain, all of it. Until you agree, I'll keep hitting him. I threw Jinbao to the ground, sat right on top of him, and started slapping his face left, right, left, right. The sharp clapping sounds echoed through the yard. Mama, save me. Make her stop. Are you giving my things back or not? I'd slap him once, then ask Zhang Guifan.
Slap. Ask.
Slap.
Ask.
She tried to come closer, but I pointed the spatula at her. She froze.
Fine.
I'll give you your clothes back. Just let your brother go. She was thinking about all the nice clothes and fabric Jingyan had bought me over the past 2 years. She'd been saving them to give to Jinbao's future bride. What a waste. Meanwhile, Lin Yue'e had found a thick wooden stick in the yard, an old shovel handle, thick as a wrist.
Lin Yue'e.
Let go of him right now, or I'll beat you to death. I've lived all these decades, and I refuse to believe I can't handle my own daughter. He didn't care that I was pregnant anymore. He'd lost all face, and just wanted me gone, alive or dead. I wasn't stupid. I was carrying a baby. Even with my new strength, a blow from that stick could do real damage. So I jumped up, yanked Jinbao to his feet, and held him in front of me like a shield. Go ahead and swing. Your precious son gets hit first. Jinbao's face looked like a swollen pig head by now. Blood was pouring from his nose, streaking down his mouth and chin. It was honestly pretty frightening to look at.
No, no, no.
Don't swing. You'll hurt Jinbao worse. Just let her take the stuff back. Zhang Guifan cared about her son far more than any cooking pot. The two of them exchanged a look.
Fine.
Take your things. Just let Jinbao go. I can't carry all of it myself. You brought it all to your house, you can bring it all back to mine. And don't think you can just lock the door the second I leave. There's way more than what's in my hands right now. I saw them exchanging sneaky glances behind my back. They were obviously planning to agree now, and then refuse later. You want me to deliver it?
Dream on.
Take what you want and get out. Zhang Guifan had no intention of carrying anything back to my house. She just wanted me gone.
No.
You won't bring it back? I raised the spatula and whacked Jinbao right on the butt. He shrieked again.
Cease.
Stop. It hurts. Why do you keep hitting just me? Because you're their little golden treasure. That's why. The whole crowd exploded with laughter. The only person suffering in this situation was Jinbao. What do we do? Zhang Guifan turned to her husband, completely lost. How had this girl become so fierce? And how was Jinbao so useless that his own sister had him completely pinned down? Yue'e, Jinbao is your own brother. Your only brother. Do you really have to be this cruel? Lin Yue'e was stuck. He wanted to hit me, but his precious son was right in front of me like a human shield. Brother? He's a parasite. You raised him to be nothing. You all treated me like a cash machine. A brother who just sucks my blood? I'd rather have no brother at all. I twisted Jinbao's arm hard. He yelped like a dog. Zhang Guifan couldn't take watching her baby boy suffer. Stop twisting him. We'll give it back. We'll bring your stuff to your house. Lin Yue'e didn't want to agree, but there was no other choice. This had already become a public spectacle. Zhang Guifan went inside to pack up my clothes and shoes. Every piece hurt her to let go of. Jingyan used to buy me nice things, and the original owner, being brainless, would show everything off to her mother. Zhang Guifan would sweet-talk her into saving them for later, then stash them away, all brand new, never worn. She'd been planning to give everything to Jinbao's future bride. I'm warning you, if a single piece is missing, I'll rip out all of Jinbao's hair. And my money, if you don't return it, I'll kick him so hard down there that your family line ends forever. Jinbao immediately cupped his hands over his crotch. He knew I wasn't joking anymore. You wouldn't dare. I'm giving you the clothes. What more do you want?
Money?
What money? You think living at home was free? If you push too hard, you get nothing. I'll take the whole family, and we'll all go die. Zhang Guifan was heartbroken packing those clothes. Returning money was out of the question. They'd taken over 400 yuan from me total. That money was her lifeline. I didn't bother arguing. I grabbed Jinbao's hair and smashed his forehead against the wall. Just once. He screamed and blood trickled down his face.
Mom.
Just give her the money. She's going to kill me. It looked worse than it was just a scrape, really. I was being careful, but the blood running down his face was terrifying enough.
Fine.
I'll give it to you. You cold-blooded monster. He's your own brother. You want to do this? Then take your things, and we're cutting ties. I want to see how you survive without family. Zhang Guifin was shaking with rage. She pulled out a box from the cabinet and counted out 100 yuan. She stuffed it along with the clothes and shoes into a big woven sack.
There.
Everything's in here. Take it and don't ever call me your mother again. Even now, she was trying to guilt-trip me with a family card. You better mean that. Let's make it official. From now on, we're strangers. You said it, not me. Should we call the village chief to witness? Maybe put it in the newspaper? If we're cutting ties, let's do it right. You ungrateful wolf. All those years raising you, completely wasted. Lin Xiangqian was practically foaming. Now have it delivered to my house. Carry it there yourself. You want me to deliver it? Zhang Guifin's face twisted. I yanked Jinbao's hair and pinned both his arms behind his back. His bloody face stared straight at his mother. Okay, I'll carry it. All she wanted was for me to let go of her son, so she could treat his wounds. She picked up the sack and started walking. I marched behind her, holding Jinbao like a prisoner, all the way back to my house. The villagers who'd been watching the show had gone quiet. Nobody was laughing anymore. They thought I'd gone too far beating Jinbao that badly. Someone even ran to fetch the village chief. But when the chief heard what happened, he didn't come. He said it was a family matter, and the Lin family had brought it on themselves. Once they delivered everything to my house, I shoved Jinbao out the gate, and he crashed right into Lin Xiangqian. Before either of them could react, I was already inside with the gate locked and barred. The couple pounded on my door, screaming the same things over and over, that I was unfilial, a white-eyed wolf, that they'd never help me again, that I'd regret this. I ignored every word and started organizing my things. Clothes went into the space. The iron pot was back in the kitchen. Bowls, plates, chopsticks, all accounted for. 3 pairs of shoes, 2 cloth pairs, and 1 pair of black leather shoes, all brand new, never worn. And 100 yuan in cash. Zhang Guifin had only returned 100 out of the 400 she'd taken, but at least it was something. The village gossip wasn't kind to me after this. That Lin Yue'e is too cold-blooded. Even if she wanted her stuff back, she didn't have to beat the boy like that. And now she's cutting ties with her own parents? That's no way to behave. She's young and reckless. No matter how bad her parents are, they're still her family. She's pregnant with no husband. Without her parents' help, her life is going to be miserable. Even Zhang Taidan wouldn't want her now after seeing that. Lin Yue'e, my lovely cousin, chimed right in. She's an ungrateful wretch. Who'd want to marry someone like that? I couldn't have cared less what any of them thought. I put the iron pot back in the kitchen, washed everything that needed washing, then went into my space. I stir-fried 2 dishes, made egg-fried rice with leftover rice, and ate like a queen. After dinner, a hot bath, and then a wonderful, peaceful sleep. Over at the Lin house, Zhang Guifin dragged Jinbao to Chen Guizi's place for bandaging. It cost 5 fun. Look what that animal did to my son. Is he badly hurt? All that blood. She's not even human. She cried and cursed at the same time. But honestly, I slept like a baby. At the Lin house that night, Chen Guizi cleaned up Jinbao's wounds and put on some ointment. He didn't even need bandages in this weather. The scrapes would scab over by morning. What do you mean it's not serious? Look at my boy. All that blood. How much food will it take to make up for that? Zhang Guifin wouldn't stop complaining. When Chen Guizi asked for 5 fen, just enough to cover the medicine, she tried to weasel out of paying. 5 fen? You said it wasn't serious. It's just a little ointment. The old doctor waved his hand in disgust. Pay or don't. But if you don't come back. Jinbao quickly dug into his mother's pocket and paid. They couldn't afford to lose the village's only doctor over 5 fen. Back home, Zhang Guifin cursed me through dinner and beyond. They ate by oil lamp in the dark, miserable. What are we going to do about Jinbao's wedding now? That girl took everything back. The house we promised the Li family, the clothes, the shoes, all gone. Maybe we can buy new ones at the co-op, Jinbao suggested. With what money? That leather shoe alone would cost over 10 yuan. Lin Xiangqian sat smoking, his face dark as a storm cloud. Today he'd been humiliated in front of the entire village. He wanted me dead. Here's what I think, he said slowly. The reason she's acting like this is because of that baby. If we get rid of it, she'll come to her senses. She'll know she needs to remarry. We just need to make her lose it. She won't go to the hospital willingly. She's cutting grass on the mountain every day, isn't she? Find the right moment and make her fall. Push her, trip her, whatever works. She takes a tumble down that hillside, and the baby's gone. Use your brain. Jinbao perked right up. Dad's right. Once the baby's gone, Zhang tied in will take her. And then the house goes back to me. Meanwhile, in my space, it was always daytime. I woke up in the middle of the night and looked outside the stone house. The wheat field had turned golden. Already? It's ready to harvest. When I'd gone to sleep, it was still green. Half a day, and it was fully ripe. I hit the one-click harvest button. The entire field turned into 5 bags of grain and a pile of straw. I tilled the soil again and tried to plant more, but the system told me I needed to wait 6 hours before the next planting. I picked up some of the harvested wheat. Every grain was plump and perfect. Now, the question was how to turn it into flour. The village used stone mills. I wondered if the space would eventually give me some kind of processing tool. I didn't want to trade my space-grown wheat for flour outside. It felt like a waste. But I knew that eventually, with the space producing more and more grain, I'd have to sell or trade some of it. The next morning, I put a couple of pounds of wheat into a cloth bag and went across to Granny Wang's house. Her daughter-in-law, Annie Zhang, came to the door.
Yue'e.
What do you need? I was hoping to trade for some vegetable seeds. I want to grow a little garden in my yard. Oh, seeds? Sure, we've got plenty. She smiled warmly. I was offering to trade, not asking for charity. Granny Wang came out too. What kind you want? We save seeds every year. We've got radish, cabbage, and spinach. A bit of each would be great. If I plant now, they'll be ready by winter. I set my bag of wheat on the table. Granny Wang opened it, and her eyes widened. This is beautiful wheat. Every grain is perfect. You could use this as seed stock. Where did you get it? Jingyan left it for me. I blamed everything on him. He was from a wealthy city family and had been receiving packages for 2 years. Nobody would question it. Granny Wang sighed. If only you'd treated him better before. He was a good man. Are you sure it's over? You're carrying his child. Maybe you should write to him. Ask him to take you to the city. Your parents aren't going to leave you alone, you know. I'm not worried about them. Let them try whatever they want. I can handle it. I meant it. I wasn't the original owner. I didn't owe these people any loyalty or filial piety. People could say whatever they wanted. I didn't need anyone's help. I had my space. If relationships worked, great. If not, I'd manage on my own. What I didn't know was that right at that moment, the Lin family was sitting together, plotting how to make me fall down that mountain and lose my baby. I traded the wheat for 3 little paper packets of seeds, radish, cabbage, and spinach, and headed home. I stored everything in my space, then heard the sounds of villagers heading out to work. Time to go cut grass. My door lock was still broken from when the Lin family smashed it. Now that I actually had things in the house worth stealing, I couldn't just leave the door open. I put everything into the space for safekeeping. I'd need to buy a new lock next time I went to town, probably needed a ticket for that too. I'd heard there was a black market somewhere. With all the grain in my space, I could probably trade for plenty of supplies. At the field that morning, I ran into all 3 Lin family members. Their eyes were strange, not angry like I expected after yesterday's brawl. They looked at me almost calmly. That was suspicious. About an hour into work, Jinbao clutched his stomach and told Secretary Chen he was sick. Then he disappeared. Lazy as a donkey that suddenly needs the toilet the moment you put it to work, Secretary Chen muttered. He marked Jinbao down and forgot about him. I went deeper into the mountain today. I discovered this time of year there were wild walnuts, chestnuts, hawthorn berries, all kinds of things growing. They were small and wild, nothing like the improved varieties from the modern era, but still edible. Village kids would come up here for snacks sometimes. I picked up whatever had fallen on the ground and tossed it into my space while I cut grass. I didn't know it, but Jinbao was creeping up the mountain behind me. His parents had told him to find a way to make me lose the baby, push me down the hill, or punch me in the stomach. Whatever it took, the baby had to go. He followed the trail of freshly cut grass, moving quietly. He knew from yesterday that he couldn't beat me in a fight, so his only option was a sneak attack. He got closer and watched me cutting grass. But something confused him. My hands kept moving, grass kept getting cut, but it was vanishing. No pile, no basket filling up. The cut grass just disappeared. He rubbed his eyes and looked again. Same thing. He figured I must be tossing it somewhere ahead and kept sneaking up behind me. I felt him before I heard him. Twigs snapping, grass rustling behind me. I wasn't going to take any chances. I quickly ducked forward into a patch of tall autumn grass that was taller than me, and the moment I was hidden, I slipped into my space. The instant I vanished, Jinbao lunged forward to tackle me. He hit nothing but dirt. Where is she? He'd seen me duck into this patch of grass literally 1 second ago. Now there was nobody. He thrashed through the bushes, shoving grass aside, calling my name.
Lin Yue'e.
Where are you? Come out. Nothing. I was gone. The mountains suddenly felt very cold to him, even though it was a hot day. His heart was hammering so hard he could feel it in his throat. Cease. Don't scare me. Where are you? He wanted to scream but couldn't. His eyes darted around, behind every tree, every bush. Cold sweat dripped into his eyes.
He was too terrified to blink.
Inside my space, I could hear everything. At first I'd thought it was a wild animal stalking me. That's why I'd hidden. But it was just Jinbao. And then I heard what he started saying. He dropped to his knees and was begging. I don't know which spirit I've offended. Please forgive me. My mom sent me up here to make my sister lose her baby. I won't do it again. Please let me go. So that was their plan. The Lin family wanted me to miscarry. And after that, they'd marry me off and take my house. These people were truly evil. My mom says it's for my sister's own good. Just get rid of the baby and find her a new husband. Please, spirits, forgive me. I'll never do it again. People in this era were superstitious. The government had been pushing science and fighting superstition for years, but deep down, nobody really stopped believing. And Jinbao had just watched a person vanish into thin air with his own eyes. I slipped out of my space and appeared silently right behind him. He was still on his knees, kowtowing and begging. I kicked him in the back. He spun across the ground. He whipped his head around, nobody there. Right at that moment, a gust of cold wind swept through, making all the tall grass sway and rustle. First I disappeared. Now an invisible force had kicked him. The terror hit maximum. Jinbao let out one blood-curdling scream. Ghost! His eyes rolled back and he fainted dead on the spot. I waited inside my space for a while longer. When I couldn't hear anything more outside, I figured he'd run away. I stepped out and found him lying on the ground. I checked his breathing, still alive, just passed out cold. Good enough. I grabbed my grass basket from the space, loaded it up, and headed down the mountain to register my work with the village chief. I left Jinbao right where he was. After that, I didn't go back up the mountain. I cut grass right next to the cornfields where everyone could see me. I wanted witnesses, proof that I'd been down here all day. Let Jinbao try to explain what he saw up there. I made sure to stay visible the whole morning. It wasn't hard. After yesterday's big fight, the entire village was still talking about me. Everyone noticed where I was. Lin Xiangqian and Zhang Guifan were out working too, one chopping corn stalks, the other picking ears of corn. They kept glancing around, confused. Where did Jinbao go? He was supposed to deal with that girl, but she's right there cutting grass. And he's disappeared. He's probably goofing off somewhere. He's a grown man, he's not going to get lost. They didn't worry too much. They figured he was just being lazy as usual. At lunchtime, they went home and still no Jinbao. Zhang Guifan started getting nervous. He never came back. Wei didn't go up the mountain today, so is Jinbao still up there? How should I know? Maybe he went swimming in the river. Just make lunch. He'll come back when he's hungry. Jinbao had been passed out on that mountain for over 2 hours. When he finally opened his eyes, all he could think about was how I'd vanished into thin air, and then something invisible had kicked him. He scrambled to his feet and tore down the mountain without looking back. When he reached the bottom and saw other villagers, he was white as a sheet, screaming at the top of his lungs. Ghost! There's a ghost! It was broad daylight. The sun was blazing overhead. Nobody believed him. They all stared at him like he was an idiot. Secretary Chen and the brigade leader exchanged irritated looks. This kid had vanished all morning, and now he was running around screaming about ghosts. If someone reported him for spreading feudal superstition, it would cause trouble for the whole village. What are you babbling about? Lin Jinbao, I think you need a beating, the brigade leader snapped, then looked at Lin Xiangqian. Get your boy under control. He probably fell asleep in the woods. Maybe he dreamed about his wedding night. Huh? Jinbao, what kind of ghost? What did it look like? Was it wearing clothes? All the men roared with laughter. Jinbao ran straight to his parents, shaking all over.
Mom, Dad.
There's a ghost. It's real. Lin Yue'e is a ghost. She disappeared right in front of me, and then came back and kicked me. I swear it's real. He was only 18, and he was absolutely terrified, trembling head to toe, clinging to his parents. The laughter died down. People started to realize something was genuinely wrong with him. He's really scared. Don't be ridiculous. Your sister was right here cutting grass all morning. She's perfectly fine. How could she be a ghost? Secretary Chen said. He'd personally watched me working nearby the entire time. There is a ghost. It kicked me right in my back. The villagers tried every folk remedy they knew, pulling hard on his ears to snap him out of it, telling Zhang Guifin to call his soul back, the traditional way. I'd just woken up from a nap and was heading to the fields with my grass basket when I saw the crowd gathered around something. I walked over to look. Hey, isn't that Yue'e? She's perfectly fine, see? Jinbao must have run into something else up there to scare him like that. Someone grabbed my arm and pulled me into the circle. Jinbao had calmed down a little by now. Lin Xiangqian pressed him. What exactly happened? Tell us properly. I did what you told me. I sneaked up behind her to scare her, and then push her. But when I got close, she ducked into some tall grass. I went after her, and she was gone. Just gone. I looked everywhere. She vanished right in front of my eyes. His voice was shaking as he spoke. Everyone turned to look at me. Why are you all looking at me? I didn't go up the mountain today. It's too far. I'd have to walk back and forth too many times. I can't handle that. I put on my most innocent, clueless face. Jinbao whipped around when he heard my voice. His brain was racing. She said she didn't go up the mountain, but the person he'd seen was wearing this exact same plaid polyester shirt. She was right here, wearing the same thing. If she wasn't up there, then what had he been looking at? It was her. She was wearing this exact shirt. She was squatting there cutting grass. Then something even more terrifying seemed to hit him. She'd been cutting grass the whole time. Her hands kept moving, but there was no grass on the ground. It just kept disappearing. He'd noticed it then, but hadn't understood. I have no idea what you're talking about. I was right here all day, never went far. I wasn't admitting anything. That's right. We all saw Yue'e down here. She never went up the mountain. Zhang Guifin, you better take your boy to see old lady Jiang. Maybe he picked up something unclean. Then Secretary Chen's eyes narrowed. Wait. Jinbao said he went up there to push Yue'e?
Why?
She's pregnant. Why would you go up the mountain to find her? You don't cut grass. The mood shifted. Yesterday, the whole village had witnessed the Lin family's big fight and their threat to cut ties with me. Oh, it's nothing. I just sent Jinbao to talk to his sister about coming home, Zhang Guifin said quickly before her son could say anything worse. I jumped on the opening. If you've done nothing wrong, you don't fear ghosts knocking at midnight. Lucky for me, I didn't go up the mountain today. If Jinbao had pushed me from behind while I'm pregnant, who knows what could have happened? He admitted it himself, he wanted to push me. Sounds like heaven couldn't stand watching him try to hurt people and sent something to punish him. I walked up and kicked Jinbao for good measure. He yelped but barely reacted. He was still too scared to fight back. Shut up. That's nonsense. Stop making things up. Lin Xiangqian tried to shut me down. He was furious that his useless son had actually confessed the whole plan in front of everyone. Me, making things up? He's the one who said it. He admitted he wanted to push me from behind. If you ask me, heaven itself couldn't stand by and watch, so it sent a spirit to teach him a lesson. That's enough. All of you, stop this nonsense. Want to get dragged out for a struggle session? Get back to work. The brigade leader and secretary Chen shut everyone down. They told Jinbao to either work or go home. Zhang Guifin took her precious boy home, and the rumors spread like wildfire. People whispered that Jinbao had run into some kind of spirit on the mountain, that his soul had been knocked loose, and if they didn't call it back soon, he'd turn into a permanent fool. I carried my basket of grass back to the village, nice and slow. On the way I saw Chen Guizi heading toward the Lin house. Uncle Chen, where are you going? Your brother's sick. Your mother came to get me. Hearing that Jinbao was actually sick from fright made my day. Such a tiny amount of courage, and he thought he could hurt me. It got even better. Word came out that Jinbao had a red footprint on his back, the kick I'd given him. The Lin family was terrified. They believed he'd been cursed by a real ghost. He'd developed a fever, so that night Lin Xiangqian burned spirit money outside their door. Zhang Guifin secretly took some eggs to old lady Jiang, a folk spiritualist who'd been labeled A for olds, practitioner, and was living by the cattle shed. The old woman didn't want to get involved. She was already a target, but the eggs convinced her. She told Zhang Guifin to take one of Jinbao's shirts to the spot where he'd lost his soul and call it back at midnight. It had to be midnight. During the day, someone might see and report her. I didn't know about any of this. After work, I made a show of lighting my kitchen stove and boiling a big pot of water, letting smoke rise from the chimney. I had to keep up appearances. If my kitchen never produced smoke, people would wonder what I was eating. In my space, the soil was ready for planting again. I used half for wheat and the other half for cabbage, radish, and spinach. The same one-click process, effortless. Then I made myself steamed fish and stir-fried green pepper with shredded pork, ate until I was full, and slept. The next morning at work, everyone was buzzing with news. Zhang Guifin had gone up the mountain at midnight to call Jinbao's soul back. Jinbao's fever broke, probably from the medicine, but Zhang Guifin ran into a wild boar on the mountain. It charged her and knocked her down the slope. She tumbled and crawled all the way back to the village. Now she couldn't get off the bed. Broken bones. Injuries everywhere. Chen Guizi had been dragged out of bed in the middle of the night again to treat her. Hearing this wonderful news gave me extra energy for work. With the Lin family dealing with their own disasters, they had no time to bother me. Life settled into a peaceful routine. Every day I'd go cut grass, then come home and plant grain and vegetables in my space. My stockpile grew rapidly. I started actually cooking in my outside kitchen too, using wheat straw from the space as fuel. But straw burned way too fast. I'd be stuffing it in constantly, unable to cook and tend the fire at the same time. Totally impractical. The original owner used to have firewood that Gu Jingyan chopped, but of course the Lin family had taken all of that too. Another reason to curse the original owner, she'd let them strip the house of everything, even fuel. But this was actually a good time to stock up. The fields were covered in piles of corn stalks that the villagers were free to haul home for fuel. Everyone carted loads back after dinner. I decided to go collect some at night, when nobody was around. I woke at 2 or 3 in the morning, left the space, and headed to the fields with a lantern I'd found in a corner of my house. The village had no electricity. It was pitch black outside. After my eyes adjusted, I didn't even need the lamp anymore. I put in my space and started working. I found huge piles of corn stalks that had been cut and left on the ground. I swept them all into my space. Then I heard it grunting, chewing, and the squealing of piglets. Wild boars. They came down from the mountains at night to eat the leftover corn. I could hear a whole family of them. I knew my limits. Wild boar hide was supposedly tough enough to stop bullets. No way I was tangling with them. I circled wide, trying to go around. I definitely didn't want to enter my space out here. If someone spotted me appearing from thin air in the morning, there'd be another ghost scare, and this time they might connect it to me. But as I was creeping past, 2 little piglets suddenly darted out of the corn and ran right up to my feet. I froze. It was too dark for them to see me properly. They started nuzzling my legs with their snouts. I could feel their bristly little noses poking through my pant legs. My heart was in my throat. If they squealed, the mother would come charging. No time to think. While they were nuzzling me, I grabbed both piglets and swept them into my space. Then I sprinted out of the cornfield as fast as I could. A few minutes later, I heard the mother boar going crazy behind me. She must have realized her babies were missing. Oh my God, that was terrifying. I ran all the way home, gasping for air, and barred the door behind me. I dove straight into my space. The two little wild piglets were running around in my wheat field, trampling my crops. The vegetables I'd planted, the cabbage, radish, and spinach, had sprouted nice green leaves, and these two were stomping all over them. If only I could fence off a section and keep them penned in. Otherwise, they'll destroy everything I've planted. I chased those two little wild piglets around the space. They were eating my vegetable seedlings. But even though they were small, they were fast. I couldn't catch them after several laps. Then the space suddenly shook. The two piglets got scared and ran straight to me, huddling close like they wanted protection. Before I could figure out what happened, a new section appeared at the edge of the space, like a U-shape branching off from the original circle. There was a gate with 3 characters above it. Livestock farm. Inside was a big area full of wild grass, perfect for the piglets to run around in. I herded them in there. They'd need more than just grass, but the storeroom upstairs had endless grain and beans. I couldn't take that stuff outside, but feeding it to animals inside the space should work fine. After all, I was from the outside too, and I could eat the stored food. This gave me an idea. I should catch some chicks and raise them in here. Once they grew up, they'd lay eggs. Eggs were mine. I could take them out to sell or eat. The original owner used to have chickens, but she'd given them all to the Lin family so Jinbao could eat meat. But that was for later. Time to sleep. The next morning, I went to work as usual. During lunch break, I borrowed Granny Wang's bicycle and rode to town. I bought a padlock with an industrial ticket, 50 fun. Now I could finally lock my door properly. What I really wanted was to find the black market. My space had bags of wheat piling up, and vegetables were growing fast. I couldn't eat all of it. If I could trade for ration tickets and cash, that would solve everything. The ticket system would end in a couple of years, but it wasn't over yet. I pushed the bike around and observed. Eventually, I spotted a woman in a straw hat standing at the entrance of an alley, holding a bamboo basket, eyes scanning every passerby. A man approached her. They ducked behind a wall together, and moments later, he came out with a cloth bag on his back while her basket looked noticeably lighter. They split up immediately, like spies at a dead drop. So that's how it worked. I pushed my bike into the alley, wrapped a cloth around my entire face, loaded a basket with half a bag of wheat under some grass, and squatted at the alley entrance, waiting for customers. My luck was terrible. Within minutes, 2 men in yellow-green military uniforms came walking straight toward me. I panicked and shoved my hand into the basket, sweeping the wheat bag into my space, just in time. "What are you doing here?" They stared at me suspiciously. "And nothing. Just resting for a bit." "Is there a problem?" My voice was shaking. "Really? It's boiling hot, and you've got your face wrapped up. You look suspicious. Are you doing illegal trading?" The scarier one reached into my basket and pulled aside the grass.
See?
"Nothing in there. Don't accuse me of things I didn't do." I wrapped my face because I don't want to get sunburned. I was cursing myself internally. What an idiot, sitting there like a target. In the distance, I could see people watching me. They were probably thinking I was the stupidest person alive for not running when the officers showed up. The 2 men turned my basket upside down. "Just grass. Nothing else." "Why are you carrying a basket of grass around?" They were clearly still suspicious. The grass was obviously meant to hide something, but they had no evidence. "Take that thing off your face. You don't look like a decent person." I unwrapped the cloth. When they saw my face, young, pretty, their suspicion softened. A girl worried about her complexion. They could understand that. Nothing found, so they told me to move along. I tied the basket to the bicycle and walked away as calmly as I could manage, glancing back every few seconds. My heart was pounding out of my chest. Thank God for my space. If they'd caught me with the grain, I'd have been arrested, publicly criticized, and ruined forever. After I'd walked a good distance, an old woman hurried up and stopped me. "Girl, what were you doing back there? How come those officers let you go?" "Nothing happened. They searched my basket, found nothing, and let me leave. She was eyeing my basket. I casually slipped my hand inside and pulled the bag of wheat back out of my space. She reached in and felt the grain immediately. Her eyes lit up. Everyone in this era was short on food. She was a townswoman with a big family. Their rations were never enough. You must be thirsty, dear. Why don't you come to my house for a drink of water? She looked around to make sure the officers were gone. Since they'd already searched me and found nothing, nobody would suspect anything now. The small crowd of onlookers had already wandered off. Sure, I am a little thirsty. Lead the way, Annie. The old woman and I understood each other without saying much. Her house was just a short walk away. When we went in, 6 or 7 grandchildren swarmed around her calling, "Grandma." "That's a lot of mouths to feed," I said.
Tell me about it.
"Never enough grain. Come inside." She closed the door behind us and had me open the bag. Her eyes went wide when she saw the wheat. Plump, full grains. "How much is here?" she asked, chewing a few kernels to test them. "You got a scale? Weigh it yourself. No point trusting my word." 33 Jean. I asked for 3 mao per Jean. She thought it was too steep. I thought it was too cheap. But I played hardball. "Andy, I nearly got arrested back there. You saw those officers. If they dug a little deeper, I'd be finished. If you don't want it, I'll just take it home and eat it myself." I picked up the bag like I was leaving. Wait. Let's talk. That comes to 9 yuan 90 fun. Can't you go a little lower? We've got a family banquet coming up. That's the only reason I'm spending like this. I went back to my basket and pulled out 2 huge white radishes, easily 10 Jean between them. Space-grown radishes reached this size in a single day. "Here, Auntie. I'll throw these in for free, but the price stays." "We've both got it hard," she agreed. 10 yuan earned, and better yet, I'd found a trading partner. "You're a smart girl. Next time you have something, come find me. I'll connect you with buyers. Just don't stand around on the street like a fool again." I rode back to the village in about 3 hours. I grabbed a basket of grass and went straight to Secretary Chen for my daily check-in. "You're way behind today. For baskets still owed, and we're almost done for the day. Uncle Chen, I found a big patch of good grass further out. I've been cutting all day. The work's already done. I just need to log it." "All right. By the way, I hear your family's having Jinbao's wedding next week. You shouldn't stay at odds with them forever. Go help out, it's a family event. Uncle Chen, I'd like to, but they keep eyeing my house. You know I've got a baby coming. That house is all we'll have. My parents. I just can't." I pretended to be torn up about it. Couldn't act too cold-hearted if I wanted to keep living here. "Listen, girl, the educated youth is gone. Maybe you should listen to your mother. Don't have this baby. Remarrying is really your best option." Everyone in the village thought I was being stubborn. They all believed this child would only drag me down. "Please don't say that, uncle. I can't give up my baby.
It's
mine." I turned away, covering my mouth like I was about to cry. Secretary Chen felt bad for pushing. Meanwhile, Zhang Taidan had apparently been going around asking village Annies to help convince me to abort the baby. In his mind, once the child was gone, I'd definitely agree to marry him. On my way home, I had to pass the Lin family's gate. Zhang Guifan called out to me from the yard. "Yue'e, stop right there." I tried to pretend I didn't hear, but she hobbled over and blocked my path. Her leg was still hurting from the wild boar incident. "Your brother's getting married in a few days. You haven't offered to help once. What kind of sister are you? And when your brother and I were both bedridden, you didn't even come check on us. Have you got no heart at all?" She'd been hoping the injury would give me a reason to come back, a convenient excuse to patch things up. She figured if I had any decency, I'd show up, cook some meals, help with the wedding. But I never came. Not once. "Didn't you say we were cutting ties? If we're strangers, why would I help? You can't have it both ways. But if you want to take it back, sure, that works for me too. I'm pregnant, and I could use the support. I'll come home for meals every day. You spent so much of my money over the years. It's only fair you feed me now." I rubbed my wrist and shoulder, playing up the exhaustion. "I've been working so hard these days. If we're still family, then as the loving big sister I used to be, Jinbao should come do my grass-cutting work for me from now on. Zhang Guifen's face twitched. What are you talking about? Jinbao's about to get married. He'll have his own wife to support. He can't do your work. You can come home for meals, fine, but why don't you just move back in? Jinbao needs to get married, so let his bride move into your house for the wedding. It'll make the family look good. And when you have your baby, you'll need people around to take care of you. Just come live with us. There it was. The real play. She wanted my house for Jinbao's wedding, just borrow it and get me back under her roof where she could control me again. No way. That house belongs to me and my child. Your family knows it's just borrowed, but what happens when the new bride decides it's hers? Then we're fighting all over again. Forget it. I was never going to be like the original owner, hand over my house and money, then slave away for this family until they eventually sent me off to find Gu Jingyan and get killed for it. It won't be like that. We'll explain it to Chunlan. It's just for the wedding, so it looks nice and proper. You don't want your own brother to lose face, do you? Look at our house compared to yours. Zhang Guifeng had been scheming with Lin Xiangqian for days. It had been 2 weeks since our big fight, so they figured I'd cooled down. The plan was simple. Sweet-talk me into lending the house, get Jinbao moved in, then stall, and never give it back. I'd end up in their old dump, cooking and cleaning for them like a servant. Borrow? I almost laughed. They thought I was stupid. Different words, same trick. Yes, just borrow it. Once the wedding's over, they'll move back. Jinbao's our only son. We can't have him living away from home.
Just help the family this one last time.
I'm begging you. Then Zhang Guifeng started lowering herself like she was going to kneel in front of me. I knew she'd never actually do it sincerely. Sure enough, right on cue, voices came from behind me. What's going on here? Yue'e, how can you make your mother kneel? That's enough. I turned around. It was my uncle Lin Xiangyang, my father's older brother. I was struck immediately by how different he looked from the rest of the family. He was nearly 50 but still handsome, straight posture, clear eyes, clean features, the kind of man who must have been very good-looking when young. And then it hit me. I looked like him. We shared maybe 5 or 6 out of 10 features, especially the eyes. Big, double-lidded eyes. The resemblance was obvious.
See, Dad?
I told you. Lin Yue'e has no humanity anymore. Fighting with her family, stealing their things. She's terrible. And now she's forcing second aunt to kneel. That was Lin Yue'e, the ugly cousin, right at her father's side.
Wait.
I looked like the uncle. I looked nothing like Lin Xiangqian and Zhang Guifeng. Was I actually this man's daughter? Had the babies been switched? But then, wouldn't everyone have noticed by now? Maybe they all knew and just never said anything. The uncle had never been warm to me either. And his first wife, Xiuhua's birth mother, had died years ago. So, if I really was his biological daughter, my real mother was already dead. Even if he knew about the switch, what would he do about it now? You're talking nonsense. This is their family business. What's it got to do with us? Lin Xiuhua snapped at my suggestion that they lend their house instead. Exactly, you said it yourself. It's my family's business. So, why are you butting in? My house, my decision. I don't want to lend it. She kneels to pressure me now. What happens when the wedding's over and I ask them to move out? They'll kneel again and refuse to leave. Who do I go to then? You? Will you give me your house instead? I rolled my eyes and tried to walk past Zhang Guifeng, but she grabbed my leg and wouldn't let go.
Yue'e.
He's your only brother. How can you just watch and do nothing? Our roof leaks, the walls are crumbling, the windows are broken. How can we hold a wedding there? Just lend us your house. I'm begging you. She clung to my leg like her life depended on it. Lin Xiangyang stepped in with a stern voice. Lin Yue'e, no matter what, you're their daughter. The goof fellow left you.
He doesn't want you.
Just go home and listen to your parents. You'll have to remarry eventually anyway. What do you need that house for? Give it to your brother. Dad, you don't even know the worst part. She's pregnant with that Gu man's child, and she insists on keeping it. Even though he dumped her, she's probably going to save that house for the bastard. She's forgotten her own family name. Lin Xiuhua curled her lip with disgust. The word, bastard, about my baby, that crossed a line. I shoved Zhang Guifeng off my leg and got right in Lin Xiuhua's face. Who are you calling a bastard? Lin Xiuhua, I've been holding back with you for a long time. You're an old spinster nobody wants. Say one more word, and I'll slap you so hard your ancestors feel it. How dare you threaten my daughter? Lin Yue'e stepped forward.
The man's gone. What's the point of having that baby?
Get rid of it and find someone who doesn't mind marrying a divorced woman. She's not wrong. Not one word. What's going on? Why's everyone standing around my door? Lin Yue'e had just arrived. He saw his wife on the ground and his brother squaring off with me. He immediately played dumb and started scolding me.
Lin Yue'e,
What are you doing here causing trouble again? Me causing trouble? I was just walking by and she jumped out to block me. How is this my fault? I smiled bitterly. These people had clearly coordinated this whole thing. Another round of moral blackmail, right on schedule. You're still talking nonsense? You pushed your own mother to the ground. Are you even human? That goof fellow must have put a spell on you. He's gone, and you're still devoted to him. We're your real family. Lin Yue'e's eyes actually went red, like he was about to cry. What kind of performance was this? Village people passing by heard his sad voice and started feeling sorry for him. Yue'e, your father's right. Your family. Stop fighting with them, and just go home. You're only 23. Your whole life is ahead of you. Don't throw it away over the educated youth. I heard Zhang Taidan wants to marry you. He's a bit older, sure, but it's his first marriage and you're already divorced. Just get rid of the baby while it's still early and marry him. Don't ruin your whole future. The villagers thought the Lin family taking my house was a little unfair, but they also thought it was perfectly natural. In their minds, I'd remarry eventually anyway. What did I need a house for? And the baby should definitely go. I was completely surrounded. Every single one of them was telling me to abort my child and marry Zhang Taidan. Then the man himself pushed through the crowd. Yue'e, just get rid of the baby and I'll marry you right away. I don't care that you were married before. I'll be good to you, I promise. He reached for my hand, trying to pull me into his arms. Get away from me. I shouted so loud everyone jumped back. Whether I have this baby is my business. It has nothing to do with any of you. I pointed right at Zhang Taidan. I knew these women hadn't shown up out of the goodness of their hearts. He'd put them up to this. I will never marry you. Stop dreaming. And if you don't leave me alone, I won't be polite about it. You want a wife so badly? All these women think you're such a great catch. Why don't you ask one of them to divorce her husband and go marry you? That shut everyone up for about 2 seconds. Then the fury hit. How dare you talk like that? We were trying to help you. Ungrateful brat. Speaking to your elders that way, you'll never amount to anything. Taidan, forget her. Even if you married her, you'd never have peace. Just wait and see how far her attitude gets her. They all stormed off, cursing me as they went. Every smile had turned to poison. I watched them go and felt pretty good about it, actually. Zhang Taidan had gone around doing favors for all these village women, just to get them to come pressure me today. And it still didn't work. He stared at my belly over 2 months now, and walked away with a dark expression. I wasn't sticking around for more trouble with the Lin family. Nobody was blocking me anymore, so I slipped away fast. Back home with the door barred, I admitted to myself that today had been a little scary. I'd only lashed out because they cornered me, but the consequence was clear. The whole village would probably turn against me now. I wasn't afraid of that exactly, but living here as a complete outcast would make things harder. Sure enough, the next morning I opened my door and nearly threw up. The yard was covered in dead rats, dog droppings, and someone had splashed liquid manure everywhere. The stench was unbearable. While I was gagging, I heard children's voices outside the wall. Should we really throw this in? This dead bat might scare her too much. That's the whole point. My mom said Lin Yue'e is trash. Her man ran away, and she's still having his baby. Scare her good. Maybe she'll lose the baby. Then Uncle Zhang can marry her, and we get to eat at the wedding feast. Before I could move, several dark objects came flying over the wall. Dead bats, with their guts ripped out. Another wave of nausea hit me.
Who's out there?
You want to die? She's coming. Run. I heard a stampede of little feet. Not just 1 or 2 kids, a whole gang. It got worse. When I came back from work that afternoon, My brand new lock had been pried off again. Inside, my bedding was thrown on the floor with muddy footprints all over it. The mixed flour I'd left in the kitchen jar was stolen, and someone had taken a dump right on my table. I stormed out. Several neighborhood kids were peeking at me from hiding spots nearby. I smiled coldly and marched straight to the village chief's house. Minutes later, my voice was booming through the village loudspeaker. When I got home today, 100 yuan was missing from my house. Someone threw my bedding on the floor and covered it in mud. My grain, meat, and cooking oil were all stolen from the kitchen. Whoever did this, come to the village chief's house and confess before the day is over. If nobody comes forward, I'm going to the police station in town tomorrow morning. When they catch you, don't come crying to me. The village exploded. 100 yuan was a fortune.
People were shocked.
The kids who'd done it nearly choked with fear. They ran straight to Jinbao. They'd never stolen money. The most they'd ever taken was a steamed bun or a few eggs from someone's kitchen. 100 yuan? They'd never even seen that much. Jinbao, your sister says she's calling the police. We didn't steal any money. There was nothing in her house. You're the one who took the flour. These were kids between 8 and 12 years old. Jinbao had bribed them with candy from the wedding supplies. He told them to go mess up my house and terrorize me because I wouldn't give up my house for his wedding. Relax. She's just trying to scare you. You said yourself there was no 100 yuan. Even if she reports it, as long as nobody talks, nobody gets caught. And you think the police are really going to come all the way out here for this? No chance. Zhang Taidan was sitting nearby, smoking. When convincing me nicely didn't work, they'd switch to dirty tricks. Yue'e, your house was really robbed. Village Chief Sun Zhengwo was in his 40s and frankly sick of hearing about Lin Yue'e drama every single day. Yes, uncle. You should come see for yourself. People have been throwing things into my yard for days. It's like a graveyard in there. Dead snakes, gutted bats, smashed toads, rotting birds covered in maggots. And someone dumped manure too. I put on my most pitiful face. Village Chief, what have I done wrong? This baby is Jingyan's. We were husband and wife. He left, but I haven't committed any crime. Why are they doing this to me? He thought it was going too far too, but then asked, are you sure your own family didn't take the flour and money? Wouldn't be the first time. He had a point. The original owner used to hand-deliver everything herself. He lit a cigarette and I stepped back. I couldn't handle smoke right now. Uncle, no matter who it was, taking without asking is stealing. They smashed my lock. That's the second time. I'd already gone ahead and used his loudspeaker to broadcast my message to the whole village before he could stop me. He didn't want things to get bigger, so he grabbed the microphone himself and added his own scolding. Whoever went to Lin Yue'e's house and stole her things, took her money and grain, return it immediately. Whoever threw garbage in her yard, go clean it up. If nobody comes forward, she's going to the police, and they'll drag you away. And who smashed her lock? Think you're bandits. The village chief cursed them out good over the loudspeaker.
But the villagers just laughed at me.
Report to the police. What? Does her family own the station? Meanwhile, over at the Lin house, Jinbao was sitting with Zhang Taidan and a crowd of kids. Lin Yue'e had come over after hearing the broadcast. Did you hear? Your sister's house got robbed. I'm the one who sent those kids to do it, Jinbao said proudly. She won't give up the house, so I won't let her live in peace, right? Without food, let's see how she feeds that bastard child. She can't even feed herself, Zhang Taidan added. He just wanted my baby gone. Lin Yue'e, who is always jealous of me, surprised everyone by partially defending me. Zhang Taidan, why are you so obsessed with making her lose the baby? It's Gu Jingyan's child. What business is it of yours? If she doesn't get rid of it, how can I marry her? I'm not raising some other man's kid. Then Yue'e got a sly look. You're all idiots. Who says you can't marry a pregnant woman? Marry her first, get her in your house, then whether the baby stays or goes is up to you. Behind closed doors, who knows what happens? Zhang Taidan's face lit up like a light bulb went on. He slapped his hands together. You're right. I'll just get her married to me first and deal with the rest after. But she won't agree, Jinbao said, touching his face where I'd beaten him. She's so strong. I can't even beat her. Are you kidding? I'm a full-grown 30-year-old man at my peak. Don't compare me to a scrawny boy like you. Zhang Taidan flexed his muscles. I left the village chief's house and walked home through a gauntlet of pointing fingers and whispers. She's burned bridges with everyone. Who's going to help her now? Pretty face but no brains. Insists on keeping that baby when she can't even feed herself. Does she think raising a child is easy? Women washing clothes by their doorsteps shook their heads as I passed. I ignored all of them. What I was thinking about was where to find a couple of dogs. Guard dogs, so anyone who tried to sneak into my yard again would think twice. Near my house, I saw a cluster of kids gathered outside the Lin family's gate, all staring at me. I stared right back. They scattered like startled birds. I knew they were the ones who'd trashed my place, and I knew the Lin family had put them up to it. This couldn't keep happening. If I didn't hit back hard, I'd never have a peaceful day. I borrowed a shovel from Granny Wong and started turning over the dirt in my yard, burying all the disgusting things they'd thrown in. Might as well use it as fertilizer. Then my half-closed gate swung open and Zhang Taidan walked right into my yard. Hey, Yue'e, working hard? Want some help? He strolled in like he owned the place, his eyes crawling all over me. Before, I was another man's wife and off-limits. Now I was divorced and available, and he couldn't control himself. He was staring at my lips with a look that made my skin crawl. What are you doing in my house? Get out. You're not welcome here. He was like a sticky bandage that wouldn't come off. Every time I saw him, that hungry look in his eyes made me feel sick. Don't be like that. Look at us. You're alone. I'm alone. We're a perfect match. If you marry me, I'll even raise that baby in your belly as my own. How about it? Zhang Taidan seemed to think this was some generous offer I couldn't refuse. No thanks. I thought I'd been clear enough already.
Leave.
I don't like you, not one bit, head to toe. Whether you're willing to raise my child or not, I will never marry you. Go find a matchmaker and look somewhere else. Stop wasting your time on me. Is that clear enough? I figured any man with a shred of dignity would leave after that. Instead, he lunged at me and scooped me up in his arms. What are you doing? Put me down. I couldn't believe this was happening. This animal was manhandling me in my own yard. Then the gate burst open. A whole crowd of children crammed into the doorway, chanting and laughing. He's carrying his bride. He's carrying his bride. I was stunned. What kind of setup was this? Zhang Taidan grinned at me with that big, ugly face. Yue'e, I like you. Just marry me. Then he leaned in, trying to press his disgusting mouth against my face. That was it. I swung my hand and slapped him across the face with every ounce of strength I had. He saw stars. Blood filled his mouth. While he was dazed, I jumped out of his arms, grabbed the iron shovel, and started beating him with it. You shameless pig! You dare assault me in my own home? I'll kill you. Each hit landed square on his back. He forgot all about his broken teeth and ran for the gate. Lin Yue'e is marrying Zhang Taidan. The bride is beating her husband. Some kid screamed it out, and the whole gang scattered, laughing. Zhang Taidan stumbled outside, bruised and bleeding, but still had the nerve to yell back at me. The whole village just saw me holding you. Now who else would marry you? You might as well be with me. Get lost. Keep dreaming, Zhang Dogegg. Come near me again, and I'll make sure you can never have children. I aimed the shovel straight at his crotch. He jumped back, cold sweat pouring down his face. It nearly connected. Just you wait. You're divorced. What are you being so picky about? A man like me willing to have you should be grateful. I charged at him with the shovel raised. That finally made him run for real. What happened? Granny Wong came out from across the road. Nothing. Zhang Taidan is just a dog. Oh, Yue'e. Why don't you write to Jingyan? You're carrying his child. Maybe there's still a chance. He probably ran away so fast precisely because he found out about the baby. I thought about that day at the co-op, how he'd handed me those tickets and turned away like he was afraid I'd cling to him. Meanwhile, though I didn't know it, Jingyan was sitting in a university classroom feeling nauseated. He'd been throwing up, gagging at strange smells, unable to eat properly for a month. He'd lost weight. Doctors said nothing was wrong. You remind me of my sister-in-law when she was pregnant, a female classmate said. But obviously you're a man, so that's impossible. This classmate had her eye on him. She'd abandoned her own 3-month-old baby back in the countryside to attend university and was now shopping for a college-educated husband. Jingyan was handsome, well-dressed, and his family sent money regularly. He was the top target. Several girls found excuses to visit him between classes. He laughed at the pregnancy comment, but he hadn't noticed any of the women circling him. He still thought about me sometimes. I was the first woman he'd loved. But the disappointment was too deep. He wasn't interested in finding anyone new. He just wanted to focus on studying. Back in the village, my broadcast ultimatum went unanswered. Nobody came to confess. So the next morning I went back to the village chief's loudspeaker. Yesterday, I gave everyone a chance. Whoever stole from my house, come forward, return my things, and I'll let it go. But nobody showed up. So today I'm going to the police station in town. Good luck to you all. After I turned off the speaker, village chief Sun Jingwo tried to stop me. Yue'e, it's obviously your own family who did it. Don't blow this up. Just let it go. Uncle, my house was robbed. You won't investigate, and you won't help me get justice. You want me to pretend it never happened? How about I rob your house, and then you can be the bigger person and let it go? He flinched. Watch your mouth. I'm trying to help. If the police come and arrest your own family, how does that look? Don't take things too far. His face darkened. He'd meant to smooth things over, and now I was turning the heat on him.